The following podcast episode might contain coarse language and subjects not suitable for younger audiences. Your discretion is advised.
Live from a not-so-sleepy little town comes a podcast for a mobile game. Really? Anyhow, your hosts, a content creator and an artist trying to come up with wild ideas while also talking about whatever. It's the Goosebumps HorrorTown TerrorVision podcast!
Hello and welcome back to the Goosebumps HorrorTown TerrorVision podcast. I hope you enjoy that meme, whatever that one was. That was a splur on a moment for this second season to make it stand out. And the green background too, because every season now is going to have a unique, special background color. As far as what next season will be, who knows? But with me always is what is this again?
I am the Lizard Queen.
Yeah. Yeah, because I did the whole Duff beer. Yeah, Duff beer for me, Duff beer for you. I don't want to get off. Yeah. Fun indeed. How have you been?
I've been pretty good. Yourself?
I mean, February is crappy. I'll tell you that. I'm glad for it to be done. I mean, it's still kind of by the time we're recording this is on the 22nd, so by the time you see this is already done. So hopefully it's better off. But yeah, February has been crap. Like snow, a bunch of like God, it's horrible.
If you think it's bad over there, wait until you try winter here in Winnipeg.
We had like a
I mean,
huge
we give it a
storm.
nickname after all. We call it Winterpeg.
Yeah, we got like a huge snowstorm that happened a while ago and dealt with that. But you know, I think it's done now. Usually they go like in like a lion, out like a lamb. So hopefully we're done with that.
Right. So
But
hopefully.
yeah, anyways, a bunch of stuff personal. But anyways, it's about Goosebumps stuff, right? So let's talk a bit about that before we dive into anything else. So um let's talk about something with the game itself. So normally around this time we would have gotten a Valentine's Day update, but we didn't. And it seems like the team, like, I'll give you my personal opinion. I think the team realized that this game is kind of hard to do anything with. If last year's anything to go off by, the fact that we didn't get any costume updates for like the skins for the houses as well as snow should tell you how bad the game is as far as like the quality of it goes, right? I think they're
Well,
trying to make it work, but honestly, the limitation that they have and with the game they're working with, it's like a losing battle. So there's there's that kind of discussion, but
well, here's my 2 cents. Like, there is some potential ideas you can go off with the IP. I mean, take this fucking podcast for example. But the problem is, I don't think they have any idea of how to execute it, because there are ideas that you can do for uh, some of the stories. It's just that they probably never thought of said ideas, and even if they did come up with said ideas, they probably wouldn't know how to execute it outside of, oh, let's take elements from the story and just do that, or just base it on the actual story or whatever.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, too, is that when it comes to this particular game, like it when it first came, like just to give you the level of quality, like there's a podcast for this game, so she tells you that there's something of it and there are people watching it, so there's still a audience for this type of material, which is it says something about the game's longevity. But the thing is, 2021 killed the game 100%. There was barely any update, and that's mostly due to legal BS that was going on behind the scenes, right? Not out of their
Yeah.
control. But we digress. But the thing is, the team doesn't want to get rid of the IP from what I see. Like the fact that he tried to do updates ever since now shows you that they still want to do stuff with this game. There's some value in there. They're trying to make it work as much as they can, but because of the limitation they have and the fact that the game basically got shot and is barely alive, right? Thanks to the 2021 thing, it kind of showed the fact that this game is kind of like barely holding on. And that's mostly due to the fact that this game needs quality of life and they can't afford to do that type of stuff. So here's my thing going on, or my theory. So right now for the game, for Pixel, they have the Snoopy game, and currently with that game, they're trying to do, and as I quote from them, modernize it. So basically, they're trying to update and give more features to it to make it better than it was once it was released back a decade ago. Right? Believe it or not, this game came out back in 2015 to release going alongside with the Snoopy movie by Blue Skies. But
Wait, there was
um,
a Snoopy movie? I remember the Peanuts movie. Don't
yeah, the
you know
Peanuts,
that?
the Peanuts movie. That's what I meant. Sorry. The again, it's just it might as well be Snoopy. Snoopy's the fucking main selling point, right? It's like who the fuck cares about the sad stuff,
Well,
Charlie
sure,
Brown?
Snoopy's the mascot, but the whole story mostly revolved around Charlie Brown getting together with that redhead.
Yeah, which I think is her name is Harriet or something along
Yeah,
those
I think
lines.
that's it.
Anyways,
Because I remember that movie fondly, actually.
it's a great movie. I will say that. But
Oh yeah,
anyways,
definitely.
it is turning 10 this year. And what's interesting is that they had help with Activision, so fun fact for that. But
I'm surprised
um,
that game's still going on strong despite its limitation characters.
oh, I mean, they have a big fan base, right? And this is where I'm going to get on with that. They lost last year the Adams, so now they only have the two games: this barely functioning one and the Snoopy one, right? The Snoopy one's making them the money, and I think when they got bought by Amico Brands, they had a lot of funds and they had a lot of games coming in. Like, they had Wonder Park, they had Loud House, they had, the Adams coming in. But most of those games didn't really go as far as they did. Then they wanted to explore and did Match Island slash Her Oasis, and that game barely even decided to, like, as cute as that was and me covering it, there was barely anybody watching it, and it pretty much showed. Like they didn't make any. It was hard, but when I do my last off, I might talk a bit more about why I think it didn't take off as it did. But long
Right.
story short, they had a hard time when it comes to making their own IPs. The only one they had was the Sandbox, which is its own can of worms. I don't want to talk about. That's just a separate thing entirely. But
Oof.
anyways, the only success they had were the IPs. The Atoms were the only successful one that lasted as long as the contract allowed it to. So that's something there. The other ones were just flops. Like they lasted for a year and then they just died out. Like most most mobile games, they usually tend to do that type of stuff, especially if they're based off of a movie. Rarely do they go on longer than that unless they make their money back or they see some sort of investment coming back out of the game to continue just by continuing on with it, right? So
Right.
the thing is, when HorrorTown came out, which was the second kind of game, it was huge. Like to give you the level of retrospect I got going on here, the advertising was insane when it came out in 2018. Everybody was reviewing it. We had John Wolf, who actually got paid by them to basically like promote the game. And not only that, but this game had 1 million downloads within the first month.
I'll be
That's
honest,
that could, yeah,
uh when the game first came out, I do remember seeing a whole bunch of like advertisements for it compared to like any of the other um games released by Pixel. I haven't seen any for like Snoopy or Adams or anything like that. It was like the
yeah. I
the
mean, the
first
Adams
advertised
though,
game I
it was
ever saw
interesting.
was from Goosebumps.
Yeah, the Adams are interesting though because they did try to do a bit of advertising for it, but it still had an audience regardless. But just kind of showing off the fact that Goosebumps is a big IP and it had a lot of
Well,
potential for stuff of that nature. So We know that they're working on a new game per se. As far as what IP it's going to be, I have no idea. They tend to go off of movie license IPs, but there's not really a big movie license that would justify a a game that would make them profit like Snoopy level type of thing. So I have a
Right.
theory on what I think it might be. If they're smart about this, I think they're making a spiritual successor or two a sequel to Horror Town using the Goosebumps license. And the reason I say that is because this is not uncommon for mobile games to do. There had been incidents and evidence to show that they have done something like this before. A prime example of this is that there was a game called Jurassic Park Builder. That game
Oh yeah.
lasted for a while. A lot of people loved it, and they ended up having to close service at some point. But they had another game coming along, Jurassic World Builder, which was basically the same game, but it was a sequel, and it was kind of more promoting to the Jurassic World, franchise, because that was the new thing at the time, right? So that game's still going on right now, but again, because of that, they had a lot more potential, a lot more stuff to play around with. So I thought, what would be more justification to try to get life back into the game by introducing people back into Horror Town in a new kind of construct, a new game as far as like the material, because they've learned so much throughout the years that they basically have an engine that they can actually work with and make money off of. And they also know how to make a profit now. So it's like it would be better to restart it and kind of get people interested to be like, ooh, a new Goosebumps game, kind of coming back into that. And they want to be cheesy and kind of, and here again, I'm just going to give them a bone here. They could call it Goosebumps Return to Horror Town, and the two would be an actual number two. So
Oh yeah.
it kind of a play on the fact, because it's like bringing back people into the game. And what they could do is that they could make it a sequel, right? So characters we used to grow up like Lucy, Dustin, all that, they're a lot older now, maybe in their teens, because that's the direction that the show's kind of going around, more aiming towards a teen demographic rather than kids, preteens type of thing. So they can go a little bit
Mhm.
more with that. They could have the story be more in the sense of, imagine a tragedy happened to the town that caused everyone to evacuate, either a national disaster or something like that, basically caused the town to be destroyed, hence why we were rebuilding it again. And that's why when you see older characters, it's like, oh, they're coming back, or characters that you see new, an explanation of explaining of why you would come back into this type of game if they were doing a sequel, if they were smart about this. And I think this might be more possible. Like, this is more plausible. Not saying that it is going to be plausible and this is what they're doing, but it would make sense. And this is just the hope and dream that they could do this, because I can see potential for a sequel of this game to happen. Especially since I can see how they can go around with this. Like, I imagine like Courtney King actually being the mayor of this new town because of how we've seen her in the game, right? Like how her character is. Because I think she would
Right.
be an interesting leader compared to, say, Mayor Johnson, who probably had enough of this shit and moved on, right?
Or alternatively, I can see Crystal being mayor because she just bought her way
I
in
could
because she's rich.
I could see that she causing problems or something like that. Again, it's like they have potential to kind of work around with, and because they own those characters, kind of, they can do whatever they want with it. The actual characters from the IP might be a little bit more, but the other thing too is that by doing this, by renewing the game, they might even be able to reuse some of the old assets again and make it new. Plus, also um, introduce new stories and whatnot. Like they can introduce now Slappy World into the books. I'm not sure. I don't think much when it comes to the House of Shivers, because that's still kind of like newish and it's very slow building. But Slappy World for sure. I mean, that series is done, so why not just introduce those books as well, right? And they
Right.
can have more to this game. Like maybe there's a town building aspect to it, which is the main game, but then there's also a side project, which is more of building your own haunted house or some sort of mansion of sorts, right? They can combine stuff they've learned from the atoms into it, so that way they have more assets they can work with. So that way there's not limitations to what they can and cannot do. So I'm just thinking this as this is probably like the least cost efficient, the easiest, and probably the most like safe bet to kind of go off of what they would be doing. But who knows? I have no idea if Scholastic slash Sony would be interested in this project. Like if they're going to be more like, we agree, so long as you kind of play with more of like aiming towards this show coming out, right?
Right.
So there's that. But one thing I'll say is that whatever happens to this game, I mean, I'll still try to do what I can with it. But, you know, as far as this podcast goes, if this game dies, we're still going to continue with this because we're still having fun with, our pretend what if stuff, and we can make something out of this. Hell, maybe we
Let
can
us
even make our own
let us
game.
make pretend for God's sake.
Yeah, hell, we can even make our own game, right? Like not maybe with the HorrorTown license, but we can take those ideas and turn it into something else entirely. Like because we're creative people, we can come up with something like somewhat of a spiritual successor, probably. But that's hearsay.
Yeah, bro.
That's thinking
That's
of
your
like the worst case scenarios. But yeah, and then I also have an idea about how they could end this game if they wanted to. But again, all I'm going to say is that this game, they are aware, like they want to still do something with this. This still has a lot more potential for it, but they're limited to what they can do. And I think the smartest thing they could probably do is make a sequel slash new game with the Horror Town license or with the Goosebump license. And it would make sense to them to announce this sometime maybe later on in the summer to say, hey, this is coming out, and then have it fully released in October, ready for Halloween, because that's probably the best way to go around with this. So we have to wait and see about
Yeah,
that.
wasn't that the same case when they first released the game that they released it
Back,
on Halloween?
yeah, back when it came to the beta test, they released it back in 2017 for Halloween for like places like Canada and smaller areas like that, but didn't waste worldwide until May. So you know, but that's potential of what can happen. But all I will say is that if this turns out to be a sequel or something like that, they will be making a big announcement about this, mostly Scholastics, and you'll be seeing a lot of news pop up about this, and we might even get to see a new contract being written. But I'm not 100% sure exactly what the dealings is. But all I need and all I know is that they are making something to try to fill the void of Adams, and I think because they have a lot of spooky items on their plate, it makes sense to do something with the property that they know actually works very well. It's just trying to get back players back into the game because part of the problem with Horror Town is that a lot of people, despite me making videos and whatnot, people go, "Oh, this game's still alive? I thought it died."
Yeah,
Right?
I can see your point.
Yeah, so there's that. Anyways, speaking of the show, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I did. I mean, we didn't really make mention of the show, but yeah,
I
I
mean,
did
well, I
promise
mean, I
that I
didn't
wanted
mention that
to.
they could be related to the show in some way, shape, or form. I'm hopeful that they still continue with the show because it would suck that if they just ended on the Vanishing and be like, "Yeah, we're done, no more." Like most shows end up failing after a second season, but hopefully they'd still continue on with it and make more stuff because then it's like because again, I don't know how well it did as far as watchability goes because they have yet to say, "Oh, season 3 is coming out, guys."
It's coming. It's coming.
Maybe.
Anyway, uh, so the Vanishing. Where do I begin? At the beginning, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um,
I want to say
so
before
I think.
like before you set everything up, I want to say this episode, this series, especially this The Vanishing, it's just a lot of body horror in there. Like, like for one, there was one scene where you have David Swimmer kind of talking. It's just like, oh, I don't know, like he turns around, you see his eyeballs hanging out, and the kid's freaking out, runs away, and he's just like, why are you freaking out about? He looks and he's like, oh, very inconvenient. Try to put it back in his it's like he doesn't
Oh
flinch about
yeah.
the idea. It's like,
Well,
oh yeah, oh that's weird. Let me put that back in.
well, you say
Mind you,
that there's
the
a group
eyeball
of
doesn't
kids
look
who's freaked out.
normal, right? So it's like, but still, it's like that body horror. Like it's like, ugh. right?
Okay, yeah. So that was from the episode "The Boy Who Cried Monster,"
Yeah,
and so it start. So okay, I'm gonna try and start from episode one, which is "Stay Out of the Base."
yeah,
That's the
the meme.
that's the main uh starting point, or the whole thing that starts off this whole thing,
Yeah,
because David Schwimmer plays as
yeah, we
Anthony Brewer,
yeah, yeah, we talked
and
about it.
I think it's also believed that his dad's name was Michael Brewer, which is actually the name or the full name of the official Dr. Brewer in the series.
Yeah,
So anyway, um, Dr. Brewer, he brings his kids over from their mom's place. I think they have like shared custody or some shit.
yeah.
And he's trying to make them feel comfortable, and he's like, feel free to do whatever you want, but there's only one rule: stay out of the basement.
Say the line.
It's like, well, yeah, I mean, who's gonna
Yay!
fucking go down there, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, he they were like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever. And he's like, great, okay, cool.
Do what you want. You can
Everything
have
gets
a
like a little
party, you
awkward
can have
because
drugs, you can have whatever you want to do, whatever teen you want to do, but stay out of my basement. That's all I ask. Do not go in my basement. Everything else is
I
free
don't
game.
care if you guys turn the living room into a pig pen, just stay out of the basement.
Yeah.
I don't care if you throw snowballs and basketballs in the living room, just stay out of the basement.
I don't care if you break the law. Stay out of my basement. As long as it's not with my basement.
I don't care if you set up meth labs in your bedrooms, just stay out of the basement.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to,
Anyway,
right?
anywho, so they had like the kids had no intention of going down in the basement, and then like things kind of get awkward, not because of anything creepy or anything, but because David Schwimmer plays a really awkward character,
Yeah.
because the character of Anthony Brewer has always been awkward because he's like this little uh nerd character who's like really into plants.
Yeah.
So what
Um,
ended so Dr. Brewer does a little bit of experimenting, and I'm trying to
something
it's
to
been
do
like
with
a couple of months.
yeah, it's been like something to do with
Huh?
Alien. Well, a couple of months. It's like a 1 month. It came out in January.
Oh
Few
yeah.
weeks maybe, but
Yeah, a few weeks. Thank you for correcting me,
yeah.
because I'm an artist. Anywho,
No, it's okay.
um, so the part where the aliens uh, it starts off with like an alien pot, like a little alien seed, but that doesn't happen until like sometime after they introduce one of the next characters, which is this guy who owns this car, and it belonged to, I think he owns the car, but
It's the
he
haunted car.
works at like a car repair shop,
Yeah.
and he and his dad were into like fixing automobiles and shit like that. And um, apparently it turns out that this guy, parks his car in Brewer's driveway because Brewer's mom, way back when, said that he could, but I think she's dead now. So Brewer's like, hey, you gotta stop fucking putting your car here now. Like, but he was all very defensive about it, like, oh, your mom said I could, this and
Yeah, and
that.
I guess that led to that scene in the trailer where he's breaking the car. He's like, "Are you fucking crazy?" Yeah, probably.
That doesn't happen until like a little bit
Yeah,
later
yeah,
when
that's what I mean.
Brewer
It's
has
setting that up.
has
It's
enough.
it's Destroyer's gun. It's like it's setting up to be like, oh, something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's setting up that scene in the trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
However, so Brewer goes out and does whatever.
Brewer's stuff.
The two kid characters, one of them is named Cece, and she's like I have to say that I really fucking hate Cece. So
Does
like
she?
with a burning passion. I don't like her in the slightest.
Is she the one who dies?
No one in the series dies.
I thought you said one of them kind of dies.
Well, the deaths in the series are all kind of just red herrings,
Okay,
and I'll
so
explain why.
all right.
So, but Cece is the sister to I forgot the other kid's name. I think his name was Devin or something.
Yeah.
Uh, but Cece and Devin, they're siblings to Dr. Brewer, or not siblings. They're the offspring of Dr. Brewer. Anyway, I think they go to a party or something, and they meet up with another girl who owns a Mazo Cafe. So there's another little nod to a Goosebumps title
Yeah, they're
or
being
Goosebumps
cute.
character.
Yeah, being cute.
Yeah, they're big. I like that little nod to detail. I like that. That's pretty. That's good work. I like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she, the coffee shop owner, apparently, so okay, so yeah, this group, they go to quote unquote Camp Nightmare, which is this research facility bunker type shit. And I guess because the coffee shop chick was really into Devin at first, but the coffee shop chick and the car guy, uh, they're already in a relationship, and the car guy kind of gets jealous of Devin, and he sabotages things into the facility, which opens up the little um underground passageway, and, and this kind of like so yeah the whole series does start off with like a flashback to that underground bunker where like the kids also go to Camp Nightmare and get infected by whatever,
Yeah.
and the same thing kind of happens with Devin almost, where he just like goes into like that screamer pose or the scream pose where he's like holding his hands to his cheeks and his mouth is all fucking agape, his eyes start bleeding and all that type of shit. And eventually, when Devin comes to, right, um, I don't remember exactly what happened after that, but apparently he had like something going on in his head that somewhat traces back to more instances of like this alien pathogen of sorts, and it comes off as like a really shrill screeching noise,
Yeah.
like metal being scraped against metal type of shit. Um, I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot of what happens afterwards, but I think at some point, like Dr. Brewer was also there, and he was wearing like a little hazmat suit,
Yeah.
and I guess there was like an accidental rip in his suit because some of the alien pathogen got into him as well.
Yeah.
But as he was working in his lab, he ends up like finding out that there's like little vines growing out of him. So he like take does everything he can to like take out the vines and shit.
They look like
And
weird worms.
eventually he comes, huh?
This is look like weird worms.
Yeah, something like that. And he takes out this tiny little seed, right?
Yeah.
And he was explaining to it. He was like doing his little recording of his findings or whatever, and he was going on about like this weird fucking thing was just growing out of my hand, and like I'm probably gonna skip a whole bunch because it like
Yeah, that's fine.
I yeah, because I can't remember a whole lot because my memory's sharp as it used to be.
Yeah.
Uh, so at one point, uh, Dr. Brewer ends up, smashing the windows of the guy's car. The guy goes like, "Hey, are you fucking crazy?" He's like, "That's a distinct possibility,"
Yeah.
and smashes the windows of the car. So as a sort of revenge, the guy at one point at night sneaks into Brewer's lab and destroys a whole bunch of Brewer's plant's equipment.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's really that car guy's fault because he was told multiple times to stop parking there, but I
Yeah.
digress. Anywho, he eventually comes across like this little deep freezer, right?
Yeah.
He opens it up and sees like the little plant thing in there. And he then gets attacked by this weird plant thing. So the coffee shop chick tried to, tell him, no, don't go in there, don't go in there. You're going to get in trouble and all that sort of thing. She goes to check up on him and sneaks into the basement and was looking for him, right? But can't find him anywhere. And then she's being stalked by this weird plant, sort of plant creature hiding around in the basement.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know it was him, but eventually she and it escape uh, through the basement door because I think Devin heard some noises. I think it was either Devin or Cece. They hear some noises coming from the basement, so they open the door, and the plant guy, who happens to be car guy, was seen with the coffee shop chick over his shoulder, and he fucking leaves through the front door. And I think I think the plant guy like knocks out Devin, and he goes off to back to the car shop where he works,
Yeah.
and I guess he tries to explain to the coffee. He can't speak English because he's a weird amalgamation of whatever,
Yeah.
and but he does have like this gold chain he would wear around, and he shows this to the coffee shop chick, and she realizes that this thing is the car guy, right?
Yeah.
And but eventually like Devin like catches up with the two, and I guess the car guy got super angry at Devin because earlier events of how she was kind of flirting with Devin and all that sort of shit, and they get into a fight which eventually accidentally gets him, the plant guy, crushed by I think the car that Brewer broke.
Yeah.
So after that, like his essence kind of like possessed the car.
Yeah.
So like later he's able to control it willingly to his own whim.
Yeah.
But after he was quote unquote dead, like the two go off and uh, I guess go back home or whatever. So then there's like this rebel chick that comes into the scene, and she's like a fucking lesbian. She's into Cece,
Okay.
and she's been in trouble before for something that she had like no actual involvement in, sort of. Because what happened was she got arrested before because some guy brought in fireworks indoors, which caused like a fire. And she was apparently blamed for it for some fucking reason. And instead of like defending herself or anything, she's just like, fine, I guess you can just haul me away to jail or whatever. It's like, that's probably like a really fucking stupid thing. Like I would lawyer up if I were her,
Yeah.
because I'm not gonna take a fall for somebody that fucking shoots fireworks inside a building. Like that's
Yeah.
fucking retarded.
Got a right to
Anyway,
a lawyer.
yeah, I would definitely like she's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she steals the car, and because she was on under house arrest, right? But she decides to steal a car for whatever fucking reason, and she uses it to pick up Cece.
Yeah.
And um, Cece kind of gets awkward with her because um, she's also been the rebel chick also is like trying to hunt down the guy that started the fire. It's like, oh, that's him.
Yeah.
And it like Cece like eventually thinks that like she's kind of like weird and creepy and just fucking leaves. And so after that, the car starts moving around on its own and starts causing a whole bunch of shit with and traps the rebel chick in the car. And
Yeah.
the car is just like driving around being sporadic, chasing this guy and all
Listening to
that
Top
shit.
Suey. Yeah.
Yeah. So the guy like at first loses the rebel chick, but then like the the guy then follows her and looks at her mom like, oh, now how do you feel about being chased? And then like the rebel chick is like in complete panic, and he's like, oh, yeah, you don't like that, do you? It's like, no, I'm not controlling the fucking car. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh shit, shit's gone down for real.
Doesn't the
And I
car
guess she
also able to
eventually like,
change?
what's that?
Does the car is able to like change shape? I could have sworn I seen a gift of it like changing from a different car shape. Like
No, it
Well,
doesn't change shape, but it can repair itself if damaged. Like, for
oh, okay, so
example,
that's probably what it was then. All right, never mind.
yeah, because it is shown that it is able to fix the windows that Brewer broke,
Yeah,
but it also has this tendency to play really loud rock music.
because it's edgy.
But eventually, we later find out that the car isn't just swerving sporadically; it's actually being driven. It's actually driving to Camp Nightmare as the source of where it's going. Right.
Yeah,
So eventually, the rebel chick breaks out of the car and jumps out before the car itself drives into the water, which is like right across from Camp Nightmare.
yeah,
And I guess what else happens? Oh, then we get to Cece's story, and this is kind of the reason why I don't like her because she's one of those, gotta be the best, gotta be the best
yeah.
type of
Only the best. Your buddy story.
only the best. So she's like this. So she sits around with like a group of friends talking about their overachievements because I guess they have nothing fucking better to do.
Yeah,
And this chick is so obsessed with kombucha. Like, honestly, like now I feel like a side tangent. Now every time I hear kombucha, I just think of the fucking Onision drama.
yeah. Kombucha.
Do you like kombucha? I love kombucha! Woo, 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 woo. Drinks like pee and smells even worse.
Smells like piss, but tastes even worse.
Yeah,
Anyway, so the episode that she's currently in is called Monster Blood. And so what happens is like some of the alien dust from when she was in the car with the rebel chick gets into her little sippy cup, her little thermos or whatever. And she accidentally drinks some of that shit when she was being served back her kombucha in
yeah,
a in a like a different little um, beverage shop or whatever.
yeah.
So so it turns out that she's not really much of an overachiever because she doesn't really have much of an achievement. I know that she wanted to go to fucking debate camp or whatever. And I really thought that was what Camp Nightmare was, that, some alien shit's gonna happen there, but no, that was also a red herring.
What a camp nightmare. Debate camp. Oh no.
Yeah,
Not
there's
the
like a bit of
face.
backstory later
Uh,
on about why it's called Camp Nightmare, but
yeah,
I'll get to that eventually.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we only have certain amount of time, so gotta go fast.
I'm trying. So she fucking gets sick and coughs up this pink crap, and that it starts growing and growing because I think it's supposed to be like a representation of her insecurities or whatever.
Sure.
And she runs away, screaming, trying to get away from this thing, and it only seems to go after her as it doesn't seem interested in anybody else for whatever reason.
Yeah,
Because I remember like this one scene where she goes back to the apartment. It was like a really high end apartment too, like a really fancy ass suite. Like
yeah,
I would say it's almost equivalent to like the fucking what's that suite called? Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a high end suite. That's all I
yeah,
know. Anyway, there's this guy who like lives next door to that, and this was happening like after she or like during the chase for the pink monster blood. It's like, hey, is everything okay? It's like, yeah, everything's fine. Just don't worry about it. It's like, oh, okay. And he goes back into his apartment, and the pink ooze starts oozing out of the fucking door of the high end apartment area. And I was thinking, oh god, he's probably gonna get it or some shit. He's trapped inside with with the fucking
the
pink
blob
crap.
monster. Yeah,
Yeah, but it turns out that it wasn't really interested in him. So it like she eventually like goes down a subway and gets into a train to get away from the monster blood or quote unquote monster blood.
yeah,
And she thought she was like relieved to be away from it. But it turns out it was also in the car with her,
Yeah.
and she eventually gets out and is like running away from this thing. I forgot how it was resolved, but it, yeah, I don't really care much about Cece's whole thing because I don't like her. Uh,
So just let's guys wrapping things up a bit because like I do under like like the one thing
okay, I'll try to.
I'll give the show credit. I do like in the second season that they're incorporating the books they're inspiring from in the story rather than how the first season kind of handled it, where it was just like, oh, here's one episode of this. All right, now time to so focus on Slappy kind of, but not really. And here are
Yeah,
some red
so
herrings,
I'll
some
try to
names.
wrap things up. I'll just time skip a whole bunch. So Camp Nightmare was given its name because there was like a camp that like had like some misfortune in the 50s or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
And then they turned it into like oh, I think the misfortune was like when the fucking alien thing crashed,
yeah, the
and then
Roswell
they turned
incident.
it into like a research facility area type thing, and they've been storing it in there ever since. And uh, the aliens wanted to just go home, but because they don't know how to speak English,
Yeah,
and they turn it and these aliens are supposedly the body squeezers, and they have like their victims inside these little weird pod things. And eventually the ship does eventually leave the atmosphere, leave the planet, but Dr. Brewer pretty much just like saves the day essentially.
yeah. Well, I don't
I mean,
understand.
eventually, eventually, I hope I could get into more details about that, but considering that apparently we have a time crunch,
Well, I mean, you
uh,
could go into details because previously you were like, I'll go more into details, like with why I've decided to hold off on some information because of our particular episode that has something to do with plant-based, right? That's all.
well,
Just
I
kind
just
of,
basically wanted to tackle the plant-based stuff, but
yeah,
um, so the it turns out that the kids from the missing that were missing back
in
in
the
the
90s.
90s
Yeah,
flashback were inside these pod things,
yeah,
and um, they were freed. But the problem is that eventually they do turn into body squeezers, so they would eventually have to be eradicated. And it only happens to certain individuals that are exposed to the alien moss crap spore shit
yeah,
for a long durated period of time.
yeah,
So recent affected ones, like say the car guy or Dr. Brewer, or uh, actually I think those are the only two that were affected
yeah,
because yeah, they weren't affected for too long, so they don't turn into body squeezers. But all the missing kids do eventually turn into body squeezers, and how they find out about what's going on uh, is that one of the missing kids. Uh, so this actually ties back to the whole alien sense thing that Devin has, right? So he meets up with like supposedly this ghost of one of the missing kids, and she leads him to the underground bunker back
yeah.
in Camp Nightmare. And he was like, oh, uh, yeah, her name was Hannah, so it kind of ties into the book. So it's like, oh, I'm meeting up with Hannah. She's gonna take me to Camp Nightmare. It's like, bro, Hannah's not even real. And he's like, wait, what are you talking about? She's like standing right over there. It's like, no, bro, she's not real.
The accident happened
Mm.
years ago. You need to let me go.
No, because it's that sort of rings true because what actually happens is that she tries to convince Devin to jump off the building.
Uh,
So I guess the Hannah jumps off and I guess disappears or whatever. And
so this is the ghost next door
so
thing.
yeah, it's the Ghost Next Door episode.
Yeah,
Um, trying to remember what else. So, God, I'm trying to remember what else, but
can just wrap it up
yeah,
then. If
um,
nothing else is
yeah, I'll just
significant
wrap it up
important.
from there.
Yeah.
Mine's all kind of scattered with all different events and shit.
What one thing I will say about the show that I feel like it's a weird selling point is like we'll have novelizations of it, like which is not unnormal. We've seen this happen with the movies and whatnot. But it's like, oh, you want the ending conclusion to this cliffhanger ending? Buy our fucking book, bitch, because that's the only conclusion you're gonna get.
What?
Yeah, so the shows end on a cliffhanger, and if you want a conclusion to those stories, you're gonna have to buy the novelization of those seasons. Because one of the biggest
I
complaints
didn't
is like,
know that actually,
yeah,
because
so they're like, well,
as
wait
far
a
as
minute,
I
what
know,
happened
there
to
wasn't.
Cat Do? I mean, he got possessed by a Davis Swimmer type character, right? And it's just like, ah, well, the thing is, if you buy this book, it'll explain everything. And just so you know, the Vanishing will also will get a book novelization of it that will also have. So it's like, oh, so okay. So you want to know
I
what
don't
happens?
remember the Vanishing even having a cliffhanger.
Well, I mean, there's a proper end, I guess, to it, but they didn't really end it properly, from what I understand. But because they're advertising and being like, "Oh, there's an exclusive ending, only exclusive to this book," right? So, but anyways, that's an interesting selling point. But yeah, as far as the show goes, it would be interesting to see how if they do a season three, what would they do for that? Hopefully they do, but we'll see. It takes them a few months before they announced it for the second season, so maybe we'll do the same thing for this one. But let's hope anyways,
Maybe.
because the last thing we want to see is like, oh, it's dead. Ah, dead. Sorry.
I do know that the second season it was a lot better than the first one, as I previously stated last episode. I
Yeah,
do like it. I just don't like CC.
yeah. So,
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
all right. Well, that's a good thing then. So, do you want to do some bashing?
Sure, let's go. Let's go ahead and do that.
Something we've been dying to do since we began this podcast
Well,
seeds stuff. Let's talk
I mean,
about.
I do have my fair gripes about this particular topic, but
So we'll
you go
do
ahead
this
and start us.
quickly because they'll try to do as much as possible, but we won't go on too long. But let's talk about Bride of the Living Dummy. That horrible, horrible update. There were so many ways they could have gone with this, but nah. Instead, they decide to, as I quote, the worst fucking adaptation to this book I ever seen. Holy shit.
Well, I
My
think the worst
words exactly.
adaptation to it was being faithful to the book.
Too faithful to the book. That's the problem. Because some of
Yeah.
Science works were not popular. They could have done the chicken chicken approach by actually fixing the problem, but nah, they instead made it worse.
What was the problem with Chicken Chicken? Remind me.
The story was pretty crappy. It was just like, oh, these kids are turning into chickens because they didn't apologize, which is like, that's a bullshit reason. There's no good
Oh, but you're
excuse
talking
for
about
that.
the actual book. I thought you
Yeah,
meant like
that's
the
what I mean.
theory of.
Most of these books have problems, like
Yeah.
My Harry's Adventure, very weirdly kind of sexual when you think about it. When it's like, oh, they could be confused for puberty, which is like,
I also don't like the fact that it like the fucking suntan lotion was also a red herring. Like, I
it
just
is so
realized how many red
stupid. Yeah,
herrings there are in this fucking
I do
series.
love that episode though, especially the kid playing the piano. They're like, it's like so stupid. Oh yeah, the Jontron stuff for that episodes too. It's like, yeah, she's cool for a girl. Like, what the hell does that mean? It says in the book the dude actually was that, but some
Yeah,
adult
I
was
don't
like,
like the.
yeah, she's cool for a girl. It's like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure I like the fucking narrator of that
No, no,
episode.
no. Can't you see can't you see I'm busy? The fucking humming. Can't you see I need some privacy?
Also reminds me of that one scene in Fairly Odd Parents where like the Timmy's parents were like watching this Dr. Phil esque show and it's like, does your kid spend way too much time by themselves and hoard a whole bunch of toilet paper? I'm going to my room with all this toilet paper. Don't come bother me.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Play that clip
Misconceptions,
in the background or
but
some shit.
yeah, what a waste of potential. So instead of actually having Mary Ellen, which would have been an interesting character, now instead let's
Yeah,
have
right.
Jillian. And we made a better idea for Jillian. We thought maybe have her be more of a like a Wednesday Addams type character, like an actual like Lolita type look, like a
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
bisque doll.
like a doll almost, right? To make it kind of sense to be like, ooh, I like this. And I thought it would be funny to have her be related to fucking Faraday, right? Because it's like, oh, who else would have a creepy cousin, right?
Not only that, but I also wanted her to be like a bit of like a silent servant to Mary Ellen, where like because I had this idea where like Mary Ellen was like originally the daughter of like Rocky from Night of the Living Dummy 3, and he was like this fucking uh gangster-esque type character of like a whole gang of ventriloquist dummies who control people,
Think
and his
Scarface
victim
from
was like Jimmy
Batman.
O. James.
Yeah, think Batman. Think Scar from Batman.
Yeah, Scarface with like Arnold Wesker.
Yeah.
That was my whole approach. And like Mary Ellen comes to town because she knows that Slappy's there, and she's like completely infatuated with him. And Slappy knows he couldn't say no. He swims with the fishes, quote unquote, but he ends
Yeah,
up falling in love with like Jillian Zinman instead. This
we
pisses
did
off Mary Ellen.
we did get Jimmy O. James, but he kind of was more portrayed to like they kind of married the two ideas. Like, in the book it was more kind of like he was like a teenager almost, and then in the show he was like an older adult, like an actual like middle-aged man.
I love the
But they
actor who
decide
plays
to
Jim.
huh?
I was gonna say I love the actor who plays Jimmy O. James because he's actually one of my few favorite actors. I forgot
Yeah,
his name though, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember he was
definitely.
also on Puppets Who Kill It because
Yeah,
he was also like the middleman.
yeah. But anyways, though they decide to marriage the two and kind of have like this young adult looking character to kind of have this portrayed as like, he looks kind of like Slap because that was the bit, right? But
Yeah,
it's just like I there was more of an idea with Jimmy L. James to have a better representation, but oh, a waste of potential. But then we get Jillian, and my biggest fears were almost kind of true, I would say, that she became almost like a bit of a Connor in a sense. Her fucking twin sisters were more interesting than her. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
Because
I
they
honestly
wore
don't like her
masks.
design.
Why
She
did
looks
Jillian
really
got
fucking
nothing?
weird.
She eats ice cream and juggles. Oh boy. She doesn't even wear clown makeup. Nah. For some
She would make Murder the Clown sad.
Yeah, I know. It's upsetting. Like the end, like the one thing I'll give her credit for is that at least Mary Ellen has animation task with her, so you can still kind of have her around, you know, kind of
Right.
there. But it's still a bit of a disappointment. It's just like this.
I
They
don't.
didn't have much to go off of with the story and to build it off, but I feel like they really just, you know,
What irks me is the design of Mary Ellen. I don't. I really fucking hate it with a burning passion.
she doesn't look like a doll. She looks like a ventriloquist, like basically like
Well, no.
she looked like the design from the book cover, but also more like a slappy dummy, right? She's not a dummy. She's
Well,
supposed to be like a doll, like a life-size doll,
well,
right?
that's not the main issue that I have with this version of Mary Ellen, because in my interpretation of Mary Ellen, she was also a ventriloquist dummy because she's the daughter of Rocky, who
Yeah,
is a
yeah, yeah,
ventriloquist
yeah. I
dummy.
know, I know.
That whole shit. But what really irks me is the dress and hair that they chose to go with it. Like, I know they wanted to be faithful to the book with the terms of the hair and shit,
And the name
but
because it's
I
like
just
Bride like Frankenstein.
like it just upsets me so much, that design. I hate it so much.
Yeah,
Like, I wish they went with my design, like kind of like what they did with George from Circus of Fear and Peepers, but like I just don't like that version of Mary Ellen at all. It's ugly.
yeah,
And I guess that's kind of what they were trying to go for because, you know, she's not a pretty sight or anything, but
yeah. You might be thinking, "Hey, why? This is a Valentine's Day update. Why would we talk about it here?" Well, joke's on you because this update landed in March. It was a belated Valentine's, so it's appropriate. But yeah, like the story itself was, the items were crappy too. They were not great. I mean, they were okay for what they were trying to do, like the weird, like Cupid with the haunted mask face on it. Like, I don't know what that whole thing was about. Like the chocolate hearts, I guess that's kind of cool. But then it's just like you get the prize, which is a tunnel of unlove, and it's a fucking decoration. It's not even like a scare decoration. It's like, nah, here's your fucking piece of shit. Enjoy. Worth it.
Well, I don't have too much of a gripe with the items and decorations. I just have an issue with the fact that they wanted to adapt from the original story, as well as the design of Mary Ellen and Jillian, respectively. Because honestly, I kind of wish they went with our idea, and I say our because I did
They
talk to you about
instead
it.
went with more of the marriage of the show slash what was described in the books, which I get it, but we have too many fucking kid characters already. Like you need to have them stand out or be unique, not just, oh, here's Connor 2.0, right?
Kind
But
of like what they did in 2020 when they did with Evan and Andy, or
the
uh,
twins,
yeah, Nat and Pat,
yeah,
fucking RB Faraday, Thalia, all those characters.
Aaron, yeah. Especially with Chicken Chicken was a prime example. Like they basically decided to
Oh yeah,
switch the
definitely,
roles.
definitely.
Like instead of
Like
having
originally the kids in that one are just like, oh, we didn't say
and
sorry, and now we're turning into chickens. But I like the approach they went with this one, because they actually made Vanessa turn out to be like a sweet farm girl, and
a bitch and
Crystal into
Crystal's a
like a
bitch.
rich spoiled asshole.
Yeah.
So it kind
And
of
then
makes Crystal's
and
punishment all the deserving.
And I know people were like, "Oh, this is not the Crystal from the book." It's like, well, no, she's a Milkinson. That's totally different. She has a
Yeah,
similar name, but
she's a
it's a
Mickelson.
totally OC character, right? So I
She's a
love that
Mickelson.
aspect.
Mickelsons are
And
yeah, but I also want to point out, like, you know, expect a whole lot of characters not based on like the actual interpretations from their respective books. Like, for example, did you know there was a Marty and Shocker on Shock Street?
yeah, that's why Marty was included in the book. See, this is
Yeah,
why it's the
exactly.
go. And here's the other thing too about like we'll talk about all these books in their own separate time, like especially with Shocker and Sock Street. But like an example, instead of having
Can you do that?
Aaron or whatever the fuck his name is, the fucking doctor guy, we have Shock because it's like, oh, how appropriate a thing called a Shocker on Sock Street having a guy named Doctor Shock, right? It's a
Yeah,
Professor Shock.
exactly.
Like there you go, like that's and he does animatronics. That's even better. There you go. Why have a new character
And
when you have
Faraday
somebody here, right?
and Faraday fucks with that shit, he fucks with
Yeah.
the animatronic shit.
Yeah, exactly. It would make total sense. And they merged the two. That's why I love 2020 because they end up merging ideas together while also making it unique and also stand out and also then kind of like what the show does, like with the second season when they try to merge ideas together while making it something new and a total. Like yeah, you can hear like you
Yeah,
can readapt it again, but it's better to see something new and then totally encharted, right? But they spent
yeah. Like
this go
there,
comes
there aren't going to be. I was sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying that this fucking story came off as we have no idea how to adapt it, so let's just copy and paste it as it's initially intended from the books, which is bad because in the original story, Slappy possessed the girl, right? That was the twist ending, which is like, ooh, that's like, oh, shocker, right? But then it's like in the show, she was not hitting on Jillian. She was hitting on one of the little sisters, right? Like, well, the one
Katie.
sister because they couldn't afford having twins, so they just had the one. The other one didn't
Yeah, that
exist.
that
But
one's name was Katie.
yeah, and then they had him possess the kid, which was hilarious because they put slappy eyes on him. What do you
Yeah,
expect?
yeah, he ended up possessing Harrison.
Which is funny. That was funny. It's like, okay, that's a fun twist ending, right? It's just like, okay.
I
Right.
mean, to be fair, Harrison is probably my only favorite human character in that episode.
Yeah, and the thing is, you got Mary Ellen build up, and then she's like fucking gets rejected by Slappy, and she doesn't do anything to go after him, right? This would have been a perfect opportunity.
Well,
Would have been a perfect opportunity the fucking jump on Slappy is like, you fucking asshole. It's just like, stop it. And then that gives Jillian to
Well,
fucking
in
run
the
off.
TV show, she does actually do that.
Yeah, no, that exactly. Like they couldn't have expected that, but nah, fuck that. I got a better idea. Let's make Slappy a fucking creep, right? Not the kind of creep from like the alien things. Nah, nah. Like in the sense of let's go after little kids. Let's marry a minor.
Yeah, that's.
Perfect. Yes,
I'm not a
perfect.
big
Make him
fan of
more of
that
a
one.
monster. Congratulations, you ruined the fucking character. Fuck me. That's what pissed me
I
off.
mean, that's kind of
That
the
ending
reason
was
why I
shit.
decided to age up Jillian, because I wanted to make it less creepy.
Exactly. That was my thought exactly. Like that would have been fine. Like it would still be creepy, but whatever, right? Like fine. They could have saved a lot of this stuff, and there was so much memes out of this whole thing. Like one guy made a meme that's like, "Oh, and Kate and whatever face will come and save her, right? Right?"
Yeah.
And then just the Andy face is just like nothing. The Anakin Skywalker face. It's just like we're gonna have him married to Slappy. Oh, and then they're gonna save her, right? Right? Like, why did you think that was a great fucking idea? That's horrible. And then just get his grinning ass. This is why I hate Athaby because it just fucking makes a story. And it's like that's horrible. That's a horrible story. Like you fucking suck. Let this Curly Bones do this now. Fuck you. You your your
Yeah,
your story opportunities got written off. Sorry, and you ruined it. I wanted to make this creepy. Not that creepy, fuck. What's wrong with you?
I think you and I have a whole different idea of what's considered creepy.
Wow, that is oh, oh boy. I don't have to react to that. I'm just also like doing stuff in the background while because um we like to try to come up with ideas for like memes and whatnot that my dear friend here can draw. So hopefully you see some of them, but other times we don't get a chance to do them just because of time and whatnot. But still, hopefully you get to see some of these memes come out of this, right? But
Memes.
yeah, get to work. But no, it's
Just have
whatever
like a
you want to
little
do.
whip. Get to work, boy.
Yeah,
Make
get
me
to
some
work, boy.
memes.
Yeah, but anyways,
Anywho,
yeah, it's something. But it is unique. Like, well, not unique, but it was a sad time because it was just like, well, okay, like this was the first time you did this on your own, and you shown that you could not be trusted. Sorry, that made me
you
kind of be
fumbled the
like,
ball, Appleby.
yeah,
You
we
fumbled
didn't get
the
to see
ball.
anything until Halloween, and it was like Circus of Fear, which was like, oh boy, that was all right, but we'll talk about that later. We did talk about it briefly, but we didn't talk about it officially. But yeah,
Yeah,
there's not
Circus
really a
Fear
whole
wasn't
lot.
too
There's not a whole lot else to talk about when it comes to this particular story because it justifies itself. You can watch my videos; it's hilarious. And then near the end, with my reaction, it was like that was probably the best. I will say this: I was upset, and I am upset with this, but I played it up for the camera for the sole purpose of I knew whether, and I said this before, I don't care how this ends. It could be great, that's great, or it could be fucking bullshit. But if it's fucking bullshit, I just go, oh boy, entertaining content. Because I know what people like. Misery loves company, after all. So I know that's like, oh, I heard rumors. I heard people are like, oh, this was a horrible ending. I'm just like, oh, please let it be so. And I was just like, oh boy, yes it is. My face when I was reading the ending was like, oh boy, here we go.
I can imagine you pulling a Nux taco and being like, "Thank you, God, for the delicious content that I'm about to receive."
Yes, basically that was the gist of it. Just like, thanks for the money, dummies, because that's what you fucking are. Fucking dummies giving me money for nothing. Thanks. Ah,
Fill my pockets with them.
yeah, they ruined Slappy, and that's all I have to say. That's gone now. You need to
I
retcon
mean,
that shit.
I kind of wish that they, like this is kind of one of the few reasons why I wish I kind of worked as one of the, I guess, staff at Pixowl, because I feel
Yeah,
like
so then I can go to him and
that
go like,
type of
"What
shit
were
would
you
have been.
thinking? The fuck's
Like
wrong with you?"
I don't want to like make myself come off as like the best thing since fucking Van Gogh or whatever, but
Hell no. But better
I
than
feel like
this. Better than this.
I feel like there are like better ways to like, portray the story than, actually following the story.
Yeah, exactly. Could have had to still had the love triangle thing, but instead they were kind of focusing their attention on trying to adapt it from the book, which is like, don't do that. There's look,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
ways you can
don't do
adapt
that,
the
man.
story while keeping it true. Like again, we'll talk more about this in the press, but one of the updates that I loved was Beast from the East. That update was its own original thing, but it also stayed true to the book. So it's like there you go, right? It's like that's how you do it. Or an update we'll talk in the
Exactly.
future, Shocker on Sock Street, or like Chicken Chicken. Like it's stuff like that, right? Like most of 2020 has been kind of like bangers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, except for that one, like except for one of them, but not all of them can be winners.
Yeah, not all of them can be winners, but a vast majority of them were.
Yeah, at least the one like we'll talk more about them in the future, but for now it's just like yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. Now I'm sad.
All good, all good.
Is there anything else you want to chat about with this, or are we forgetting anything?
In terms of Bride of the Living Dummy, I don't currently have anything. No.
Yeah, I mean it is weird that they had the sisters be the spawnables with Mary Ellen, and they had her have like the happy sad like tragedy masks going on there. Like I don't think if I remember correctly, it was because
It was a nice.
in the huh?
I said that's a pretty interesting detail. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it credit because that was true in the books where they were kind of terrorizing her, but that was only because of Mary Ellen. But they didn't even go ahead and say that it's not our fault. Mary Ellen made us do it. It's just like, nah, they were just assholes, right? And this it just
Well,
happened to be the
they're kind
fact
of
that the doll is
assholes.
alive, right?
They're kind of assholes. Like at one point, like they do say that Mary Ellen's the one forcing us to do this type of shit, but they made it come off as like, oh, we
The
know you're an
doll,
idiot, and you'll just believe us anyway. So
yeah,
yeah, Mary Ellen told us to do it.
yeah, but
Sucks to suck,
they
bitch.
never did that though. I don't recall them ever doing that though. I can't remember. They
I
might have.
mean,
They might have, but I don't
well,
remember.
they do that through facial expressions in the game.
Yeah. It's creepy that they look the same. They did the
Well, they're
lazy approach.
twins. Of
They did
course
the
they
lazy
are.
approach. They just took one character and then they just decide to, all right, we'll make her blue and you pink. Character design
Don't even get me
101.
started on that aspect of
Don't
twins.
worry, we'll talk about the other two. I know who you're talking about. We'll talk about them later on when we talk about it again in the future. Oh boy. That one was even lazier. Oh
God, I
God.
hate that
Fuck.
so much. Anyway,
Let's just put a stupid thing on there. Yeah, perfect. Yay.
yay.
Yay. To be fair, they
Anywho,
probably drawing up. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, yeah, let's talk about anything else but Bride. But long story short, boo, Bride sucks. Let's move on.
yeah, it wasn't the best adaptation.
Yeah, we would have done
But
better.
again, I
Let's
don't
move
think
on.
there's ever been a best adaptation. Maybe
Maybe in the
no,
future we might
there's never been one.
maybe in the future we might revisit and do an episode that's we do something like maybe I don't know if we're bored and we have nothing else better to do, but we have too many ideas. So why don't we
I
move
feel
on?
like we should. Yeah, honestly, I probably thought maybe I could have just made my or written my own version of Bride and showcased that, but
Maybe in the future, but we have many ideas. Speaking of which, let's talk about yours in just a quick moment. So we took a bit of a break. We came back, and what's funny about it is that we were just chatting a little bit of what we're planning for the next episode. So I hope you're
oh,
ready for that.
yeah.
It's gonna be fun. But for now, we're gonna be talking about Vampires update, which when we last left off, teaser wise, was a clip from the Harley Quinn show. In which case, Frank ate the a gag with Frank eating the kid, and he's like, "Oh, or do you think he's gonna like his family's gonna find out?" It's like, "I don't think so," and then just froze up the family. And it's like, wow,
Well,
that's
Frank is
appropriate
by
because
far the goat.
yeah. But the
He's like the
funny
best
part about
character.
that is that it's this that meme clip is so close to exactly what's going on for this update. So what is it?
First, there was a reason why I brought up the continuation for the Vanishing, and that's because the story that I wanted to tackle today is called Your Plant Food,
Oh boy.
and
See, it
this is
makes
a
sense. It rhymes. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
brewer centered episode.
Yep. Dr. Brewer, the stay out of the basement. The doctor stay out of the basement brewer.
You can set off nukes in Russia, but just stay out of the basement.
Stay out of the basement. God sound like him too. It's like every time he's just like, you can do whatever you want, but stay out of the
Oh
basement.
yeah, just like we could set off nukes in Russia, but whatever you do, stay out of the basement.
Yeah, gotta say it like that. Just like how Mrs. Marr, you gotta say Mrs. Marr. You gotta emphasize that. This is like the stay out of the basement. It's like he said the meme. He said the meme.
It's like you could definitely, play with the kitty and take care of all the china, but whatever you do, stay out of the basement.
Yeah. God. All right. God.
It's
All
like,
right.
oh
God.
god, I'm
Jeez. I
like,
got it. You're
that's like
you're you're hogging with your basement.
I
Jeez.
can imagine. I think
Can I have
I,
your can I have your
I
basement?
remember there was like this. I remember there's this one scene. I think it was like from Smiling Friends or whatever,
Yeah.
and I think it was Charlie who said it was like, dude, that's like right in my fucking ear.
Yeah. Oh God.
Like I can imagine as soon as like Dr. Brewer is like, stay out of the basement. I can imagine one of the characters is like, dude, that's like right in my fucking ear.
Say that again one more time and I'll punch you. I swear to God. Oh, what did I fucking say, dude?
Anyway, so yeah, so the character that's going to be introduced in this one is Margret Brewer.
Yeah, so it's had nothing
Uh,
to do with the book, but interesting premise of that. So what's with?
well, no, it does involve the book.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there
yeah,
are
yeah.
elements in
I
the
know.
book.
It's weird. I'll shut my mouth. I'll talk when you're done talking. I'm already hyped
So
for
what I have
this.
listed. So what I have listed is Margaret Brewer. She's going to be the playable character, and she is the plant creation of Dr. Brewer,
The
and
clone
he
or the
calls her
original one?
pumpkin. Huh?
The clone in the game or the actual original brewer?
Actually, I read online from TV. There was like various sources ranging from the Goosebumps fan wiki to TV tropes that the plant creation or the plant version of Dr. Brewer in HorrorTown is his own original character because since the actual Dr. Brewer doesn't actually exist, he's not technically a clone.
Yeah. What's funny too, by the way, is that they inspired the inspiration from the TV show. So it's like they couldn't have the logo of the baseball team that they're playing. So instead he has the letter S. It's like, oh yeah, my favorite team. The S is
Yeah, the original cap I think was supposed to be a Dodgers cap.
yeah. So again, I know can't do Dodgers because then it's just like, all right, get those Dodgers. All right, but
But anywho,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyways. It's interesting too. You're bringing
So
her up because I'm reminding of the game Dead of no, is it Dead of Night. Yeah, I think it's Dead of Night, where you go to Dr. Brewer's place and in one of the scenes, and you actually get to see her as a tree stuck, and it's just like, oh,
yeah,
that was a twist. I was like, Jesus Christ, I didn't get to see you there. All right, honey, eat your gruel. Okay, Dad.
so Brewer actually calls Margaret Pumpkin, which she detests a lot, and that's kind of just based on the fact that in the original book, he calls her princess, and she doesn't like it.
Yeah,
But the reason why he calls her Pumpkin is because her DNA actually contains a bit of pumpkin when she
if
was
she,
created.
yeah. So does she have like? I guess she has a human and monster side to her, right? Or is it just?
Um, she does, but she hasn't really mastered it yet, so she's just mostly in plant form.
Okay, so just like her daddy. But it's interesting. Does she look like because she had pumpkin DNA? Is she like a little bit like orangey with green vines, or it's like basically kind of like how Dr. Brewer is with this green plant vine?
No, she's just basically like a smaller female version of her.
Smaller in the sense of like how small are we talking here? Like, are we talking like little person vibes,
Um,
or are we talking like little baby man vibes, or like actual just like a normal kid?
Normal kid, like a teenager.
Okay, okay, because I was about to say when she's smaller, I was just thinking like a little baby man, little baby,
No, no, no.
baby man,
I'm not gonna have like a little plant baby just walking around
little
on
baby
all
man,
fours.
little baby man.
No, but Margaret Brewer. Another thing that kind of like differentiates between her and her dad is that she's the only one of the two that actually has like flowers growing out of her head.
Yeah, no, because she's a girl.
So
That's what happens, right? Boy plants don't
I
got
mean, yeah,
boy plants
she's
got
the girl
vines, girl
character.
plants got flowers. That's just sexist.
She's the girl
That's what
character.
happens, right? It's like, it's like what? How do you tell Mickey Mouse from Minnie Mouse? Oh, you got a bow. Perfect. That's how
Pretty
you
much.
tell. Sexist.
But another character, these next two are actually NPC characters. So the first one is Max Creeper, and he's the curator for the evil Creeper Botanical Gardens.
I love how I'm assuming that Stein had nothing to do with this because it could have been someone else, but I just love the pun where it's named Evil, like evil, but it's spelled Evill.
Evil,
The League of Evil.
evil.
Ernest, Ernestville, right?
I don't know what the E stands for. I don't think that's ever mentioned at all, but it could be anything. Honestly, it could be Ernest or fucking Eduardo or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, at
It could be
Waldo.
anything.
Yeah, it depends.
It's up to
Yeah.
interpretation, I guess.
Apparently, he didn't like his first name, so he just shortened it to E. He liked his last name though.
Yeah, got to keep the E right, or got to keep the Vil.
Yeah.
Anyway, so to unlock Margaret Brewer, you need the Botanical Gardens key.
Oh, that's the battle pass. The battle
Yeah, that's
pass.
a problem.
Got a battle
Anyway,
pass. The Fortnite battle
um,
pass. You wanna see
the
Fortnite?
second NPC character is known as the SWAT team.
The SWAT team.
Yes, these are large flies in tactical gear.
Oh. Do they carry do they carry those stupid fly swatters with them? It's just like, all right.
Yes, they do.
Oh
Yes, they
boy.
do.
Oh, I'm getting Donkey Kong flashbacks now. God,
Uh,
that stupid
they
game.
also work for Max Creeper.
Okay. Is Max Creeper like a human guy or like
Yes, he
what's
is.
okay, I was about to say why did he have plant fly monsters?
I don't know how he got them, but all I know is he's a human character and he has fly henchmen. And
He just
what I have
inherited
written
them. So
for
he's like, "All right, this is my life now."
what I have written for Max Creeper is that he was an ex-partner with Dr. Brewer for his botanical experiments.
Oh, okay, so maybe he's more into the insect study and it was more plants. So
Well, the study of insects is called entomology.
yeah,
Fun
so
fact.
that's what he was kind of studying or his major in, right?
I don't. I I honestly don't know. I haven't written that part.
I mean,
Anyway,
why
uh,
not? I mean, why not do something like that? And then it could be like, yeah, because bugs eat plants, and that's evil. It's like it's plants versus
it's not
bugs.
that. Well, remember, it can also go the other way too. Plants eating bugs.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we know, especially with brewers, is walking plant. Like the fuck, what the fuck is that thing? The fly trap thing. Yeah. Then you got those walking
So,
plant monsters.
so there are special buildings. One of them is the Evil Botanical Gardens. Um, Spawns Margaret, flytrap monsters, and large insects. After the event, it's referred to as the Evil Creeper Botanical Gardens.
Okay.
Um, the crafting building is referred to as Max Creeper's laboratory.
Yeah.
Uh, Margaret comes with a greenhouse.
Because of course she does.
Uh, and the promenade only supplier is known as the Venus Human Trap.
Nice.
And this was actually based on a part of a song called "Stay Out of the Basement," where it mentions a plant called the Venus Human Trap.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to throw
Well, I
that in
mean,
there.
it's funny how fun, like the weird, like the Venus flytrap. It doesn't really catch flies. It should have been called the Venus spider trap because most of the time spiders are the ones that ends up getting caught.
Well, I think the reason why it's called that because the leaves also secrete like a foul smell to attract insects.
Yeah, the but
It
flies.
should
Like
just be
it does
called the
get
insect
flies,
trap
but
in
it's
general.
mostly spiders that they end up catching, right? It's
Well,
it's
I wouldn't know about
fascinating.
that.
It's
It should just
fascinating
be
how
like a.
yeah, sorry.
I feel I feel like it would have just been called an insect trap, to be perfectly honest. But
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah, but anyways, it just
Yeah.
has this thing where they make sure it just it waits to see if all four hairs gets triggered, and when it does, it like clamps onto it, and and it becomes a stomach almost, which is interesting how they kind of, you know, how that plant. And the reason why it does that is because plants usually need soil and sunlight and rain, but where these plants are basically located, they don't have any soil, so the only way they can get the protein is through, in this
Well,
case, insects.
a small correction because now it's someone's turn to be the R-tard.
Yes, thank you.
Venus
I need
flytraps do
that.
grow
You're still
in
fired by
soil.
that. Hey, to be fair, I make fun of myself too when I get stuff wrong.
Okay, so Venus flytraps do grow on soil because soil still fucking exists. It's just that the natural nutrients that they require from the soil they grow on doesn't exist. So
Yeah,
they have to get the nutrient plant or not plants, insects, which is
yeah,
why a lot of the plants like pitcher plants, the sticky one, I think it was sundew or some shit,
yeah,
the Venus flytrap, and even the bladderwort
yeah. The big,
they all feed on insects to get those nutrients that they wouldn't get otherwise from the soil.
yeah.
Anyway, so the suppliers
Now
are
we're
known
even.
as the creepers. Huh?
Now we're even.
Yeah, now we're even.
All right.
Anyway, the suppliers are this one are known as the creeper vines,
Okay.
and the raw item that they drop is something called the plant virus.
The plant virus? Is it like?
Plant virus. That's
Is that the
huh?
thing like from the game I was talking about, the Dead of Night thing? How like he gets affected by plant virus that you're turning into, and you have to take a.
Yeah, that's actually something that's actually in the Your Plant Food story where
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense because of the cover art thing. Yeah. So that's you know
yeah,
what? That's probably where they took the inspiration from too, from the game. They were like probably like your plant food as well as like the main stay out of the basement stuff
it's
because
kind of weird how common it is to tie "Stay Out of the Basement" with Your Plant Food.
I know it's weird. Like it's like he has no other ideas when it comes to plants. It's just like, oh, let me do it again. I mean, hell, this is the same guy who wrote fucking Cry of the Cat three times.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he has Cry of the Cat, Night of a Thousand Claws, and then Claws. It's like, how many times can you write the same fucking story?
Well, in the defense of Night of a Thousand Claws, there's not really a whole lot involving dead cats. The only thing that involves dead cats basically is the cemetery that's only found in Cat Cay Island.
Yeah.
But
Anyways,
other than that, and that's like one of the plots of the story.
yeah. Anyways, continue on with your adventure. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, it's all good. The currency is going to be flies.
Flies, okay.
Yeah,
Just a fly or
uh,
a bunch of flies?
a bunch of flies,
Okay. Flies in the jar.
dead flies.
Oh, nice.
So the decorations I have listed here include the toxic cactus, which is described as a saguaro cactus with dripping ooze from the needles. This is where the plant virus comes from.
Okay.
The polka dotted rose bush, a rose bush with spots on it that appear to have eyes on some of them.
They could easily recycle that from atoms, so that's perfect.
Fun fact about the polka dotted roses is that they were also featured in another Tales to Give You Goosebumps book, which
The
is Secret
attack,
Agent Grandma.
I was about to say that the Secret Agent Grandma because they had the garden thing with the plant eyes. Yeah, now I'm remembering that.
Next one is morphing potted plant. A plant that changes from varying species of plants: a cactus, the spotted rose, a tree, and a Venus flytrap.
So this would
And
be
yes, it
like
is
an
animated.
yeah, yeah. I was about to say it's probably an anime. It would be interesting to see how that animate like in the shapes, but yeah, okay.
Plant pod. A pod made to look like the soybean pod from Plants vs. Zombies 2.
Okay.
Bouncy grass. Rubbery grass patch that can be bounced on.
It would have been perfect for something like
SWAT team.
but if
Sorry.
I was about to say it would be perfect for something like that is to kind of use multiples of them because it's like it sounds like one of those things where you can build a bunch of those grass together rather than just having the one plant patch. You know what I mean? Like if this was back
Yeah,
in the old days of crafting, you would be buying your fly traps for those and you could buy multiples of them, right? But unlike
right.
the stairs. But anyways,
Uh, the next one is SWAT team, which is an anthropomorphized flies in SWAT uniforms. Next one is desert exhibit, which is a room with sand and cacti and desert plants. Arctic exhibit, which is a room with snow, ice, and winter themed plants. And mountain exhibit, which is a locked door.
I guess based
Then we
from the
also
book. Yeah.
have, huh?
This is like based from the books. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have dandelion,
Yeah, you kind of that's
weed
like
killers, huh?
I can pretty much I can imagine it being kind of like in the Alice in Wonderland where it's like a lion plant.
Yeah, that's actually pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Um, Next one is weed killer spray.
Okay.
Uh, Plant workbench. A workstation with vines growing on it. Whether it belongs to Dr. Brewer or Max Creeper is unknown. Uh, Plant giant. A giant statue that looks like the Jolly Green Giant.
The Jolly Evil Giant.
And and finally, the grand prize is Tree Boy. A half boy, half tree wails in agony as he sees his body being mostly tree, based on the cover.
Okay. I like when they
Uh,
incorporate stuff from the cover arts into the game type thing, right? That's one of the fun parts.
yeah, kind of like what they did with Dead House. That was like my favorite thing.
Dead House, Egg Monsters, I'm trying to think what else. There's the Camp Nightmare. Trying to think.
Yeah,
There were some examples where they did that, which was kind of nice to see. It's like, ooh, I want um Horrorland yeah, Horrorland, the first iteration of that.
yeah. Let's see. Items. The raw item we established is plant virus.
Yep.
It looks like it takes a test tube with a small vine and leaves growing out of it.
Yep.
Um, Virulent cactus needles. So this requires 3 plant viruses and the X strange sample.
Okay.
The next one is spotted rose, which requires 3 viruses and sunflower seeds. Venus flytrap requires virus and 3 shamrocks. Morphing plant requires 2 of the cactus needles, the spotted rose, and the flytrap. Uh, the next set is going to be a little different. So the first of this set is fly, and this is going to require the plant virus and cockroach.
Okay.
And from this point on, instead of requiring plant virus, it instead requires fly.
All right.
So the next one is fly larvae, which requires 3 flies and 3 roach snacks. Large insect shell, which requires 3 flies and 3 canned roaches. And then 2 flies, larvae, and 2 insect shells get you the large beetle.
Okay.
So for animations, I have Lucy doing biology homework, which drops plant virus, and read cool plant facts, which requires the desert exhibit and drops fly larvae.
Yeah.
Dustin has biology homework, which drops virus. Jump on the bouncy grass, which drops fly, and infected with the plant virus, which requires the toxic cactus and drops virulent cactus needles.
Okay.
Marty has biology homework. Eric Tyson has biology homework. Mr. Mortman has tempted to eat the insects, which requires the SWAT team and drops fly. Mrs. Marg has assigned biology homework, which drops virus.
Yep.
Dr. Gray has studied the spotted roses, which requires the polka dotted rose bush, and that drops spotted rose. Granny, water the spotted roses, drops spotted rose. Compton Dawes, testing the X-strange sample, which drops the cactus needles.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Brewer and Margret actually have the most animations out of the rest. So with Dr. Brewer, I have botanical research, which requires plant workbench, and that drops the fly trap.
Yeah.
Save Margret, which requires the plant pods, and that drops morphing plants. Dinner with Margret drops X strange sample.
Okay.
Creating the perfect life form, which drops the Blattidea progidium, which is the plant roach.
Yeah.
Tough decisions requires Dr. Brewer's house, drops the dark rose. Margret Brewer, photosynthesize, drops flower oil. Don't call me pumpkin, drops family dinner, drops Dione hominopula, which is the weird flytrap looking creature thing.
Yeah.
Ask to go outside and play, which drops flower bouquet. Throw water balloons, which drops sports drink. And get in trouble with dad requires Dr. Brewer's house, which drops the X strange seeds.
Okay.
So the story of your plant food starts off with Curly. Springtime. A time when the grass is green, the leaves sprout from trees, and the flowers start blooming. But what if those plants grown a bit too big? And what if they began to gain human sentience? And what if they became something evil? Let's have a look what that gruesome tale is like. Uh, Mrs. Marg. All right, children, we're here at the Evil Creepers Botanical Gardens. Marty. That name doesn't raise any suspicion to you, like at all, Mrs. Mark. Now's not the time for your quips, Marty. So starts quests off. Then Lucy. I'm so glad you could join us for the field trip today, Margaret. Margaret. And it's my first day of school too. Is school always like this? Courtney. Nope, you just happen to be at the right place at the right time. Statistics, really. Mrs. Mark. The curator should be here to greet us. I don't know where he is. Max Creeper. Right here. Mrs. Mark. Oh, you startled me.
Goodness gracious, you startled me, child.
Goodness gracious. Oh, my stars.
Oh,
Ooh, my heavens.
oh
Max
my.
Creeper. You are the students that are attending the field trip to the gardens? Mrs. Mark. Yes, that's correct. I'm Mrs. Berg. Max Creeper. Max Creeper. My name's Creeper. Max Creeper. Marty. Oh my god, that name. Max Creeper.
Cringe. Cringe.
Cringe. Cringe.
That is so
Max
corny.
Creeper.
What you God, you could have made a joke with that. Like it's like, like your last name is Bates and you become a master. Presenting
I'm a
Master
master
Bates. Presenting
I'm a
Master
master
Bates.
debater.
Yeah, Master Debater.
Max Creeper. I should let you all know, or I should let all of you know that the exhibits are very fragile. So we ask that no one touch the plants here. Dustin. That sounds like a stupid rule, Lucy. It's not stupid, Dustin. Then goes to Quest and then Margaret. Could be for conservation. Dustin. What's that? Courtney. Wildlife conservation refers to the practice of protecting wild species and it's supposed to be beneficial to the ecosystems. Dustin. I mean, they're just still plants, Margaret. Even plants need to be protected.
Yeah.
Now goes to Creeper. Let's start at the desert exhibit, where we have a fine collection of flora from the arid ecosystems, ranging from various species of cacti, including the prickly bear, the bunny ear, and the classic saguaro. And here we also have the desert marigold, the desert sage, and the tumbleweed. Marty, I'm already bored. Dustin, hey Lucy, dare me to touch that cactus? Lucy, no, Dustin, don't touch the cactus. Why not? It's just a plant. Ow, that hurt!
Ow!
The thing about that one is I kind of based it off a Legend of Adventurous bit where like Bitsy becomes a vampire and tries
Yeah.
to bite herself to give blood to Torbeck. It's like, ow, that hurt!
Yeah.
Man, this sucks.
Yeah. It sucks
Anyway,
indeed.
I can't believe I did that to you, Torbeck. He's bleeding to death.
What do you think Torbeck sounds like? Torbeck thinks he sounds like this.
He
No one.
sounds refined and sophisticated.
Yeah. Wait, Torbeck
I don't
sounds
know
like
why they run
that?
from me.
Yeah.
I don't know why they run from me from the woods. Torbeck is nothing but kind. Torbeck says, "Don't run from Torbeck. Torbeck just wants to be friends." Torbeck, stop yelling. Anyway, before I divulge into that or get distracted with that, Lucy. Well, I can't say you didn't deserve that, Dustin. Those nails are sharp. Sorry, I'm in busy mode still. Margaret, here's an
Oh, your
interesting fact.
voice sounds
Cacti.
high, Dustin.
Oh, your voice is a little low. I slap you on the back. Oh, what did happen to me?
What is happening to me?
Anyway, Margaret, here's an interesting fact. Cactus needles are technically leaves. Marty, that means Dustin got hurt by a leaf. What a baby.
What a bitch. What a baby
Dustin,
back
you bitch.
bitch.
You got hurt by a leaf.
What a baby back bitch.
I can just like imagine now Marty just like throwing leaves at Dustin, like, watch out, the leaves are gonna hurt you.
Yeah. Ah, it hurts.
Ow, that hurt. Anyway, Mrs. Marg, stop horsing around back there. We are guests to the gardens and you're already misbehaving. Max Creeper, it's all right, Miss Marg. This happens a lot more than you think.
Don't worry, Miss Mar. Gotta do it like
Don't worry, Mrs. Marg. This
yeah.
happens a lot more than you think.
Yeah, it's gotta just sound like,
Max,
oh, I'm sorry. It's like,
yeah, I
who are you
forgot to
talking to?
emphasize
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Mar. It's like, oh, thank you.
Oh, that's better.
Much
Max
better.
Creeper. Here we are at the jungle exhibit, a lush environment of various trees, bushes, and plants. Bamboo, ferns, orchids, palms. Lucy, here's a weird one. Maculosus rosa. Max Creeper. Please don't touch that. That's a very fragile plant. And then, like, the rose winks. Lucy, oh, that rose just winked at me. But, Marg, don't be silly. Plants don't have eyes. Marty, potatoes have eyes. Marg, not real eyes, Marty.
He's not wrong though.
I mean, those are just like little roots and shit.
The creepy plant winks at you. It's just like, oh no, don't go with that plant. It likes young people. No.
No, no, no. Like
How you
the
doing, kid?
reason why, like it
The
only has
Herbert
like
plant.
one eye.
Herbert plant. How you doing, kids? Mm.
I'm Herbert. Anyway,
See, we're having fun with this.
Lucy, Dustin, are you okay? Dustin, no, I think I'm a little woozy. Lucy, you don't look so good. Margaret, it must have been from the cactus he touched. Lucy, I told you not to touch that cactus, Dustin. Yeah, I'm starting to learn from my mistake now.
Yeah.
Uh, Lucy, Mrs. Marg, I think Dustin may have got something.
Okay, we're killing the joke now.
Sorry, I could just imagine Lucy just like emphasizing her name
Mrs.
like this. Just
Marr.
Marg.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Max Creeper caught something? Mrs. Marg. It's probably just allergies. Margaret, I don't think so. He's literally turning a shade of green. Mrs. Marg. Oh my.
Oh god, he's
Max
got
Creeper. That's
gangrene.
not good.
He's got gangrene. Turning the
Max
gangrene
Creeper.
gang.
That's not good. He needs medical attention. Thankfully, we have a med bay area in the gardens, just in cases like this. Margaret, maybe my dad can help? He's a botanist. He could probably cure Dustin effortlessly.
It's
Then
not
it cuts
easy.
to Quest.
Yeah. It's not easy feeling green, Dustin. If worse, you can join the gangrene gang.
I can imagine like Kermit just looking at Dustin's like first time being green.
Yeah.
Welcome to hell.
Welcome to hell. Radioactive poisoning. Kill you. I drink plant. Fucking
Like I can imagine
lucky
Kermit doing like
bastard.
the Pink Panther thing and I can imagine like Kermit doing the Pink Panther thing, and Family Guy is like, "Hey, first time being green? Yeah, welcome to hell," and
Yeah,
walks away.
welcome to hell, bitch. Hey, do you know when I get back? Yeah, same way you came.
Max Scraper, your father? Margaret, yeah, Dr. Brewer. He's great with plants. Max Scraper, Brewer, you say? Why don't you and your friend come with me to the med bay so we can wait on your father? Margaret, that sounds like a good idea. Dustin, I hope he shows up soon. I can feel my body feeling weak. Creeper, I can assure you, everything will be just fine.
Yes.
Max, Max Creeper, here we are in the medbay room. Margaret, the door says mountain exhibit. Max Creeper, don't worry about that. Dustin, what about the rest of the class? Max Creeper, they'll explore the Arctic exhibit while we wait. Margaret, oh, I really wanted to see the plants there. Creeper, oh, don't worry, you and your friend will. Forever. Dustin, what?
Oh, nothing.
Quest.
Oh, nothing. Sorry, I had something in my throat. It's like that
Max
thing.
Creeper.
It's just like I'm gonna kill you. What? I said I was gonna kill. Like, oh fuck, what was that joke from Sideshow Bob? He was just talking under his breath. My nose got a gusta. What was that? Oh, that's Spanish for I'm gonna fucking murder you. Or that whole
Max
like
Creeper.
stupid fat bitch. What did you say? I said rabbit eat lettuce. Oh, well, yes, they most certainly do.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Crabtree.
Mr.
God, I miss
Crabtree.
that
What
character.
did you say?
I
Hey,
told you kids to sit down and shut up.
hey, wait a minute. That kid can't come on the bus. Oh no, sorry, he's a special kid, special ed kid. Oh, I'm sorry, little girl. You still can't come on the bus. Gotta go on the special ed bus. Later. Even the kids don't want
Sit
that.
down and shut up, or I'm gonna shoot this bunny.
Yeah, that's right.
That's better. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
hey,
Creeper.
it works.
You, Miss Brewer, are the key to my plans to ruling Horror Town, turning it into a plant utopia. Margaret, what are you talking about? Creeper, your makeup is exactly what I need to make my plant army. And because of your foolish friend caught the plant virus, that means he'll become half plant, just like you. Dustin, I'm not ready for that. Max Creeper,
Too bad.
swats, assemble. The flies. Bzzz.
Quick, get him
So
a
basically,
gun. Plant a gun on him. He's tagging on
uh,
full force. Officer down.
now I'm just reminded of that one scene in Family Guy where
Yeah,
turns out
yeah.
that
Peter's
Peter
the
was
black.
part black.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Yeah, he gets
There's
pulled over.
arrest. Officer down.
But this is my car. Officer down. Anyway, Margaret, what about my dad? Creeper, your dad isn't going to save you. By the time he does get here, it'll be too late. Put her in the pod. Margaret, let go of me, you disgusting bugs. Bzzz. Creeper, as for the boy, put him into the testing chamber. I need to see the fruits of my labor. Dustin, I don't enjoy the plant puns, you sicko. Max Creeper, after my virus turns you into a plant humanoid, you'll get used to it. Quest, and then Dr. Brewer eventually he's on the phone with like Mrs. Marg. So he's like, "You said my daughter is where?" Mrs. Marg, the evil creeper botanical gardens. Brewer, and that name doesn't ring any suspicion to you, like at all. Well, in hindsight, I now feel a tad concerned. Brewer, where did
What?
Max Creeper take her?
Wait, where did he take
Huh?
her? Evil car. No, no, that's fine. May God have mercy on us all. Where did I put my shoes? In the drawer, clear. The drawer! May God have mercy on us all.
Mrs. Mark, the mountain exhibit. Wait, I didn't give you his name. How do you know him? Brewer. Yeah, I know him. We used to be work partners. I'm on my way.
No need. I know who
Uh,
he is.
I know who this bitch is.
Yeah, I know who this bastard is. This rat bastard.
I know who this bitch. This dirty bastard. Dustin. Oh, I feel worse than before. Creeper. Don't worry, child. Soon it'll all be over, and you'll be a plant to serve in my army of ruling Horror Town. Why do you want to rule Horror Town? Because HorrorTown is merely the stepping stone to global domination. Brewer in his platform. Creeper! Max Creeper. Ah, my old accomplice, Dr. Michael Brewer. It's been a long time since last we spoke. Quest, then Dr. Brewer. Where's Margret? Oh, she's safe. For
Where's
now.
Where's Pumpkin? He's like,
Where's
Dad,
Pumpkin? Where's
Dad.
Pumpkin? Oh, we have pumpkins over there.
What pumpkin? Why would
No,
you
I
want
want not a
like?
pumpkin.
Why do you want fucking pumpkins? I thought you were a kid. That's who I call my kid. Oh, I'm sorry. That shows me off. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, no, you're not getting her back. All right, there
Where's
you go.
Pumpkin?
You're
Oh, we have
rapscallion.
pumpkins over
All right, rapscallion. There you go.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't stop me. You can't stop me, Brewer. She's merely an instrument to my plans. Brewer, I won't let that happen. You're not the only one who owns sentient plants. And then he brings one of his plant monsters to scare away Creeper, basically.
Yeah.
Then then it cuts to Dr. Brewer saving Margaret from the pod, like pumpkin. And then Margaret in her platform is like, Dad. Brewer,
Don't call me
oh, I'm so
pumpkin.
glad you're safe. So, don't call me pumpkin. God damn it.
Why do you have to be so cringy with my friends?
You're being cringe in front of my new friends, Dad.
Stop! You're embarrassing me.
That's so not skibbity toilet. It's like, oh, you call me
You're
cringe.
too much
Okay.
Riz. You don't got the Riz,
You have
Dad.
like L Riz, Dad.
Yeah. You got the skibbity bop 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 beep beep. Yes.
What the fuck kind of shit is that? That's called skibbity toilet, Dad. God, you're
God,
so L Riz.
you're so old.
Anyway,
Sorry,
Brewer, oh, I'm so glad you're safe, Margaret. What happened to Max Creeper? Brewer, he
Dad.
ran like a coward, but
Dad.
I feel like he'll return one day. Margaret, oh, Dustin, he's infected with Creeper's plant virus. Dustin, yeah, I'm not dying or anything.
That's fine.
He's clearly dying.
Nah, that's fine. Dad. All right, fine.
He could just walk it off, and
No,
then
no,
I
he's
could
okay.
imagine like
And he froze
like
up plants.
putting your hands on her head, like, Dad.
Froze up plants. It's like, nah, that's fine. Get out of your system, kid.
Oh, he'll be okay. He
No,
can
you can
walk
eat
that
this
off.
gruel. Eat this gruel. That'll make you feel better. This looks like crap. It's good crap. Don't worry, you'll love it.
This tastes like crap. Tastes like shit, but it works.
This cream corn tastes like cream crap. What's party map, honey? Yeah.
Does your green child need a booster seat? Anyway.
Yeah. The green child in the booster seat.
Dr. Brewer, don't worry, I'll get you healed up. I just so happen to know the antidote, West. And then Curly. Aw, see, who said monsters didn't care for one another? They raise families and take care of others. Of course, our top priority is scaring people. Slappy. Good. I was getting worried. And then Curly. Oh, you know what? No, you don't know what? No. Yeah, yeah. And let this, yeah, sorry. And let this also serve as a lesson as to do as you're told. You don't know what horrible consequences await you.
Yeah.
So that's the main story of your plant food.
Can you imagine? It's like it's a oh, Dustin, you can block it off. Well, I can, but I'm stuck to the floor now.
Like,
I
oh,
cannot
don't worry, you can
move.
just walk it off. Yeah, if I
Nah,
wasn't
you're
rooted to
fine.
the ground, maybe.
Nah, you're fine. I seem to be attached to the ground.
Like, no, you can walk it off. I would if my feet weren't rooted to the
Rooted to the
ground.
ground. Now I got birds living in my nest. Get the off.
I got birds living in my knot holes. Get out of there!
That's not where you're supposed to put your egg. Like, don't put your nuts down there. I need those. I need those nuts.
And there's squirrels going after my nut.
Stop! I need those. It's like, stop! I need those.
Damn, that hurt.
Voice.
Your voice is a
My
little high. I slap you
goodness.
on the back. Ow, that hurt.
Put nuts in there. It's just like big nuts. It's like, oh, I think my nuts dropped. My nuts dropped.
Oh, my nuts just dropped. That's weird.
That kind of like reminds me of that Simpson joke with the Homer singing. Is just like, that's my son up there. Oh, hey, my voice dropped. All night, the sun is born. Ah, nuts.
So the side story is called "Everything's Coming Up, Margret."
Millhouse joke here. Fucking big nose. Fucking big nose, glasses,
Everything's
and
coming up,
eyebrows.
Millhouse.
Yeah, that
Oh
house.
god.
It's like, I didn't even spell my name. Thrill House. Thrill.
uh, anyway, so it starts off with Dr. Brewer and his platform, like a few doses of the X-Change formula, and she's done. My life's work is finally complete. Then Margaret, Dr. Brewer, welcome to the world, my beautiful daughter. But where am I? HorrorTown, but more specifically, in my laboratory in my basement. Then it cuts to a quest,
I
and
can
then
imagine that he says that, and then the other plants got offended. It's just like, okay, but it's like what? It's like,
the quest.
Daddy. Oh, well, this is not gonna work well. It's like,
Now the thing is, I do actually. The thing is, I do actually have quest things listed here. So the one I have here is Dr. Brewer creating Margaret.
yeah,
Margaret, don't call me pumpkin, and then obtain
yeah.
pumpkin.
I can imagine though, it's just like she kind of grows quickly. Like at first, she's kind of trying to understand how to speak, right? And then later on, she just talks normally like a fucking teenager. It's just like, God damn.
Just starts
Maxie,
sprouting
it's
from
like
like a
it's like
little
Max
flower
and
pot.
Goofy relationships going on there. Oh boy, you're putting that shit up again.
Just like I can like imagine like Margaret just sprouting from the from like a little flower pot and be like, I am Margaret.
Like I am Groot. Little, and then he
And
takes her. It's like, remember when we used to go to Horrorland together? It's like, Dad, that's for babies. Remember we used to go on the wheel, the wheel of horror. You're screaming,
I
ah, ah!
remember when we used to go down the final leap and
Yeah,
ride the Doom Slide. You remember the Doom Slide?
slide,
Yes,
and then
Dad, I
welcome
remember
to
the Doom
Doom. It's
Slide.
like, Dad, that's for babies. Meanwhile, you're screaming,
The Doom Slide is for babies.
ah, baby. And then you got what's his face offended by that. It's just like babies. My part's not chiller. Yeah, that's it, chiller. It's like, oh, my
Yeah,
part's not
John
for
Chiller.
babies.
It's like, wait, the Doom Slide for
Baby.
babies? Have I lost
Hmm.
my touch?
No, it's the children that are wrong.
It's the children who are wrong. Anyway, Dr. Brewer, I should have invested in giving you a name. How's Pumpkin, Margaret? I don't like that. Brewer, aw, but you look so precious. Plus, you do have pumpkin DNA in you. Can we try a different
plus,
name?
plus you're chubby like a pumpkin. It's like shut up.
She's not chubby,
No, I know that.
but
I just mean that like when she was a little sprout. It's like it's a new chubby pumpkin. Stop it.
Margaret, Margaret, I think I like Margaret a lot. If that's what you want, Pumpkin. I said don't call me that. I
Hey.
might keep it as a cute nickname. Ugh, God, you're being cringe. You're being Elriz.
Hey, pumpkin. What plant do you not want to go in? Fucking it up.
What's one plant you should always watch out for?
An
An
ambush.
ambush.
Dad, please. An ambush. He does this every time.
Dr. Brewer. Now let's
I
have some
get it,
plant food.
Dad. We're
I'm starving.
plants, but come on, please.
Let's have some plant food. I'm starving. I hope you are too.
Here's some
Uh,
fertilizer. We got it right straight from Vanessa's place.
Margaret, what is this, and what's the green stuff on top? Dr. Brewer, the green stuff is a special nutrient plant food I created. It'll make your stems nice and strong. The main dish is a juicy sirloin steak. Margaret, isn't it weird that we're plants and yet we eat other creatures? Brewer, not at all. A Venus flytrap eats insects, and that's not weird. And many fertilizers are made from dead organisms. What's weird is plants eating plants. We're not cannibals, Pumpkin. We're more civilized than that.
We're more civil. We're the civilized people. They're the ones that are
And
wrong.
that's kind of like a little mini rant of what I think about plant-based characters that eat other plants. Like, isn't that fucking cannibalism? Why the fuck are you doing that? Like,
Well, it's like
I
what?
think Poison Ivy is supposed to be like a
AK,
vegan or
yeah,
something, which I thought was like really fucking weird.
weird, yeah, especially weird. Like you would think she would be a meat eater, right? It's weird too. It's just like it's like when Donald Duck has like dinner, like Christmas dinner, and it's fucking turkey. He's like, aren't you a fucking like aren't you birds? Like what kind of more bullshit is that? Like at least like an anime called Beastars at least made some sense of like try to make sense of the whole like oh yeah this is a dark thing we don't talk about it. The thing that Zootopia is too scared to tell.
Well, I feel like Zootopia is more kiddish version of Beastars, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, Beastars came after, but yeah, it's better.
Well, no, I get
Superior.
that, but
It's superior in my version. Anyways,
sorry, I'm just pouring cola. Give me a moment.
cola. What flavor?
It's regular.
Surprised it's not Ghost. Sponsored by Ghost, by the way. An energy drink goes all the way. What's your tagline?
Well, I
What?
would, but the problem is the 7-Eleven that sells it is no longer in my city because of all the crime.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I was heartbroken when that happened. I do, however, have a bottle of Mountain Dew flavor. It's
Uh,
um,
Not the same.
it's a, it's a specific flavor that's soon going to be discontinued, which kind of sucks because it's one of my two favorite flavors.
Why is that? So, like we get exclusive stuff in Canada and like the Americans do. It's like up in Canada, it's like we got weird ass flavored chips. It's like that's our thing, right? If you want flavored chips, too bad. You kind of come up to Canada. Apparently we like that shit. Like ketchup. Yep, that's our thing. Red like maple leaves. Which is like
Yeah,
people
I
think
think you
that's
would like
weird
one that's like
despite you
maple
put
syrup.
ketchup on potatoes or french fries. It's like, you know.
Yeah, you put ketchup on your French fries. Us, we put fucking gravy and cheese on that shit,
Yeah, and gravy.
and we give it a whole different name.
And we put
We
gravy
call
on
that
that.
shit poutine.
Yeah, we put gravy on that shit. It's good.
We put that
Mm-mm.
shit on everything.
Yeah, we put that
Anyway,
shit on. Yeah, Frank's Red Hot. We put that shit on everything.
yeah, that's kind of what I was going for.
Yeah,
Anyway, so Margaret sees the other kids like outside playing, and she asks her dad, "Dad, can I go outside and play?" Dr. Brewer, you do need to photosynthesize, but just stay in the backyard, okay? Margaret, can't I play with the other kids? I'm afraid not, sweetie. See, humans fear us, Margaret. They don't understand us. They think they do, but deep down they have biases towards monsters like us.
despite the fact that he had
Then,
talked with Brooke at first, she would have been fine, but she got freaked out by his monster form. Like she didn't even know that he
then,
was that. All right.
so it cuts. So after the quest, it cuts to Lucy seeing Margaret in the backyard, and she's like, "Oh, hi there." And Margaret's like, "Oh, hello, Lucy. You must be new to HorrorTown. I'm Lucy. Nice to meet you. I'm Margret Brewer." So Margaret's a little cautious because Lucy might have some biases towards her,
Yeah, because her
and
her
Lucy was.
racist father says otherwise. Humans are racist against us plants. Be cautious, especially that one. That little bastard over there. Yeah, I saw him carving a name on a tree. I see
See
you,
that little prick
bastard.
over there, the one with the shirt? It's like they're all wearing shirts, Dad. But that one over there,
That red
it's
one.
like
Which one? They're all wearing red shirts. I know that little rat bastard.
they're all red shirts. The one with the striped red shirt. It's
The
like,
red,
yeah,
little chubby
watch out
kid.
for that
It's
one.
like you're not helping a
Watch out for that one.
yeah,
Watch out for that one. He's a little bastard. He
a
carves
little
his name on trees.
little rat bastard. I'll carve his name on his skin. Kind of reminds me of that
Oh,
episode.
his
Kind of reminds me of the
colors.
episode from Aqua Team Hunger Force where they end up upsetting the tree people and they're like using fucking Carl's skin. It's like, oh shit, no, there's hair in this one. No, sorry. There it is. Oh, sorry, I got the wrong one. It's just wasting paper made of trees. Oh, fuck this. You're so lucky that these trees are fucking stupid because you were both guilty as hell.
Anyway, so Lucy is like, "Hey, want to play with us? We're having a water balloon fight." And then Margaret's like, "Oh, what's that?" So then it cuts to Lucy explaining what water balloons are and how you throw things or throw the water balloons at each other for fun.
You get this
Margaret's like,
weird,
"Oh,
yeah, you get this weird
so you
rubber
throw,
thing. I fill it up with water and then you throw it at each other.
so you throw balloons filled with water at each other for fun?" Lucy, "Yep. Today is pretty hot, so it's a good day to cool down." Margaret, "I really want to join, but my dad says I can't. I have to stay in the backyard because my dad is Elris."
Yeah, I had to stand here. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, just part of the synthesizing. It's boring. I got praise to the sun god,
I
like
gotta
Dr.
praise
Brewer.
to Amun
Praise to the
Ra.
sun gods.
I have to praise to Amun Ra.
Yeah, this is like I need a safe state. Sorry, give me one moment. I need to praise to the Sun Lord. Okay, we're going after Dark Souls level of evil here.
I need to sacrifice this cow to the sun god Amun Ra.
Amun Ra.
Amun Ra, take this sacrifice.
And then it's like you get like Karu offended by that. It's like, oh, Neela nerf.
I can imagine Koru looking at that and just be like, "I approve. We need to kill more people."
Got a stupid zombie face. Like, thumbs up. It got his sister too, by the way. You never talk about her.
Like, well, considering that he just constantly her name
Keep
all the
saying her
time.
name, Neela. Yeah, Neela. It's like, yes, I get it, brother. It's like you need to say. He's basically Groot. That's all he says.
Yeah, yeah. He has like the fucking Groot mentality when it comes to words. It's like, "No."
Says
Like
Neela, and then
it's even
he
gone.
grunts.
Like I feel like Affaby is like the only one who can basically understand Koru because he's like the fucking Rocket Raccoon type of understanding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, Sailor seems to understand him too.
Really?
Well, that one moment, it was just like Neela, like he's friends with Snowball for some fucking reason. It's just like, Neela, Nerf, or whatever. It's like, oh, God, all right, fine, let's talk to this other guy. It's like, it's fuck off. He doesn't want to buy trees, right? They want to decorate their thing. The Susie conflicted them, the two. Buy Christmas trees. Neela,
Oh,
Nerf.
look at the pretty Christmas tree. Like, but that's not decorated or anything. It will be. And she just takes out some tinsel.
I got some magic dust that we're gonna throw on there.
We're
Everyone will
gonna
be.
make it all
They'll,
nice and
don't worry.
festive.
Don't worry. They'll make it theme like they're actually watching a good Christmas tree. It's just like they get high. It's just like, I'm reminded of that one scene was like, you know, America Dad, right?
Yeah.
There's a moment where Roger is trying to find Haley and Zeph. What's the fuck his name is? Keith? No.
The boyfriend?
What's his
Yeah, I think it's Keith.
whatever. That other guy. But they were trying to find him. It's like, well, in order to find a stoner, I must be a stoner. I said, all right, let's say this. Man, this edibles ain't shit. Ah! You can imagine that. It's like with the trees. Like, man, this edibles ain't shit. You can remind of that. Now I'm also reminded of that deleted scene from the Sonic movie with fucking Robotnik getting high on something. He's like,
Oh yeah, the
Stone?
mushrooms.
Yes, Stone. Yes, Doctor. What did you put in the coffee? Just a little something to make you relax, Doctor. Why did you sit down and relax? Yeah. Why did you sit down and relax? Stone.
Anyway, where was I? Oh, Yeah, Lucy then's like, maybe we can ask your dad if you can play, Margaret. I don't think my dad likes you guys too much, Lucy. Well, it's better to try, right? And then like
And if not,
Quest,
fuck them.
and, and then Lucy goes up to Brewer's house, is like, "Hello, Dr. Brewer. Can Margaret come out and play?" Brewer in his human form's like, "No, she's photosynthesizing. Can she play after? No. Afterwards, I'll be teaching her how to transform into her human self.
Because you play
I before
after.
you ask, no. Before you ask, no, she cannot because it's bedtime for her then."
Yeah, how about that after? It's like can we go to the Splashmore? No. No. No! No! Like, if I say yes, will you leave me alone? Yes.
uh, um, Lucy, well, I tried. Margaret, let me guess. My dad said no. 3 times, in fact. I really want to know what it's like to play with you guys. You know what?
Well,
I'm sneaking out. Lucy, are you sure that's a good idea, Margaret? What my dad won't know won't hurt.
yeah, screw him.
Quest,
Fuck that narc.
and then and then now Margaret's starting water balloons with the other kids. Lucy, nice shot, Margaret. You got Dustin. Marty, ha, you got hit by a plant. So that's like a running joke. And
You're such a weak
then
baby. Little baby man. Little baby man. Little baby man.
you're a little baby man.
Little baby man. Baby man.
So so Marty then gets pelted with a water balloon from Margaret, and Margaret's like, "Oh, who's laughing now?"
Yeah.
And then Dr. Brewer is like, "Margaret Brewer," and then Margaret's like, "Uh oh."
Yeah. You get in
So
that
then it
basement.
get in the basement. No, that actually sounds kind of weird. I'm gonna retract
Get in my basement with your other brothers and sisters, or your other sisters.
he calls them the sisters or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, a sister, or sister. This is yeah, because I guess Plant is like
Uh,
guy up. It was female. It was just, it makes you wonder, like like he goes by a male gender, but is he really though? It's just like he's a plant. So do they even have a gender? Are they like agenderless? Are
actually,
are they actually both? Actually, now I think about it.
yeah,
Yeah. So what do you
yeah,
call
you're
them?
right. They do
Yeah.
because plants not only give off seeds, but they also produce
Yeah.
flowers
Yeah.
for pollinators to pollinate.
Yeah. Which
So
is
they do
very
technically
weird.
have two sexes.
Is it weird for our seed to touch the flower? You have both? Yeah, doesn't everybody? No.
No, because seeds are kind of like eggs.
Yeah, I just mean the Sam Family Guy joke.
Oh,
The the
uh,
the for the wrong word. I mentioned it before, right? There I know the one word for it, but I'm trying to think of the more PG. What do you call it? PC way of saying it without offending people.
um,
All right.
I
Trigger.
don't
All
really.
right, trigger warning for everybody. Hermaphrodites.
That's honestly not that triggering. What is
But apparently
annoying
people
though
are
is that
triggered by that, so at least I warned them.
yeah, but for some reason I don't know why some people want to think that they don't exist for some stupid fucking reason.
Yeah,
Like I'm not gonna get too political on that because that's not really the channel for that. But
yeah,
there's
definitely.
just
I
a lot
mean,
of
we cut some
bullshit.
stuff out last time, so yeah, we're not gonna do that. But then with plants, it's weird because they're both sexes, but then also you get like weird things like mushrooms, which are more like spores that they just grow out of. Like they just like
They're a
they
whole,
split
they're
off
not
from one another, right? They just kind of
they're plant, they're plant-like, but they're not plants.
yeah, because they don't have any seed. They just grow on stuff, and they just kind of like what do you call that?
They feed on dead organic matter,
Yeah,
so they grow on good things.
yeah, and I'm trying to think too. It's like they like I know the spores, but I'm just trying to think of like how they reproduce. Like they split off and make clones of themselves. There's a word for that.
Oh, not quite. That's something strawberries do.
Oh, okay.
With mushrooms, the spores once they land on something, that's how they typically like grow and create more. But
Yeah,
their roots like reach to other mushrooms and stuff that
yeah,
they're all like interconnected in a way in like a a network of all these different fungi.
Yeah. Well, because they have no plants, because they have no roots, so they just like you get the like if you see one,
Well,
you can
they
just
do
pick
have
them up.
roots.
Oh, yeah, they do, but
They
you
do
can
have
pick them up
roots.
easy. Like they're not rooted to the ground per se. Like you can just plop them off, and that's
Some
fine.
are,
Yeah,
some
some.
are, but a lot of them tend to like they tend to grow on things that give them enough nutrients, like
And
dead
then
organic matter, for example.
you get truffles that just go underground, so they don't even come up, right? So
And then you have the weird ones that feed off of insects and turn them into zombies.
yeah, you got those ones, and then you got ones that make you high, think that you're giants, like the Mario mushrooms. That actually exists.
Yeah, those grow from the ground.
Yeah,
And then you have one that grew directly from the trees, like the turkey tails.
yeah. And you got the weird ones
And
from Beast from the East that look like fucking umbrellas.
okay, that's not even a mushroom.
That's a weird Dr.
That's like
Seuss
a
land. I don't know.
yeah, that's a weird Dr. Seuss plant, bro.
It looks like a
It's like
mushroom
a
to
whole
me.
different. That's like a. But I will say there, if I ever did end up becoming like a vegan or anything, there is one mushroom I do want to try,
Which one's
and
that?
that is something called the. This one is called the beef steak mushroom,
I've heard about
and
this.
this thing.
Yeah,
No, you have like no idea how interesting this thing is. It has this texture, consistency, and taste as an actual steak, right?
yeah,
Especially if you
that's
like grill it and shit.
yeah,
And it's supposed to contain more protein than a steak.
yeah.
So I definitely wanted to give that a shake. And if what it said about it is true, then I think I might end up being a vegan just for that.
Well, I mean,
Just
they
have
got
like
those
grilled mushroom.
Impossible burgers, right?
I tried those. They're not that good.
Yeah,
But I can definitely like go behind a fucking beefsteak mushroom if what it said about it is true.
yeah.
Anyway, getting back to the story here, Brewer, you were told to stay in the backyard and you deliberately disobeyed me, Margaret. But Dad, they wanted me to play with them. If they were biased, would they have asked? I I suppose not, but that doesn't change the fact that you went against my wishes. Sorry, Dad. Dr. Brewer, I set up a UV light fixture in your room so you can photosynthesize in your room. Because for the rest of the week, you're grounded.
You're grounded, Mrs.
Thanks.
You're grounded in the ground, Missy.
You're grounded.
In this pot that I made for you. It was supposed to be your birthday present, but now I guess you're not getting.
Um, now I can just like imagine Dr. Brewer having like a Butters dad moment. It's like, you're grounded.
Yeah, I'm already grounded.
Well, now you're grounded even more. Anyway, um, cuts to quest. Then some time passes, and Dr. Brewer visits Margaret. It's like, Pumpkin, Margaret, don't call me that. Brewer, look, I never wanted to ground you for your first day of life, but you need to understand that actions have consequences. I'm sorry I snuck out. I just wanted friends. I know you do, Pumpkin, which is why I came to the following conclusion. Because of your point, after your grounding, I'll let you play outside with the other kids.
I hate,
Really? Oh, thank you, Dad. But you
I
have to
hate,
promise me not to deliberately disobey me anymore, okay? I promise. And whatever you do, stay out of the basement. Okay.
I made, I made you new friends. See, I made the
In the
clones.
basement.
Isn't that creepy, Dad? Nah, that's not creepy.
It's
It's
not
much better
creepy.
anyway.
It's like I made you new friends in the basement. Isn't that creepy? Of course not. That's how you were made.
They were made down there.
Oh.
Oh.
Anyway, where was I? Oh, Margaret. I promise. Roar. How about a joke to cheer you up? What is the one plant you should always watch out for? An ambush. And
Mm.
yes, I did have to. I love that line so much. I had to implement it into the story.
Even though I joked about it, you're like, ah, now I gotta do it again. Gotta do it again.
Then it cuts the quest, and then the following ending bit. Margaret, thanks for letting me play with my new friends. Of course, Pumpkin. Don't call me. On second thought, I'll let it slide for now. Come have
Yeah.
dinner. I want to talk to you about enrolling you into school. Oh, school. What's school? It's a learning facility, and I hear that there's going to be a special field trip soon. So that's like
Yeah, the setup too. The thing, yeah.
yeah, good.
That's cute.
But yeah, that's it.
Yay, you did it.
Yay!
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 Fucking what do you call it? Jim Henson Muppet type thing going on there.
The Kermit yay.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, we got
But
some
yeah,
funny
what do
memes out of it. That's great. Funny indeed. Funny indeed. Anyways, yeah.
so what do you think?
I love it. I love how we're getting this kind of set up already. The pieces are falling in
any
place.
any thoughts or opinions that you want to share?
Besides what I've stated before, not really a lot. I think it pretty much self-explains itself, honestly. And my overall thoughts on it is this: I actually do enjoy where you kind of get your headspace with this idea, especially with the like trying to combining everything together, and then of course having our dear friend there, the new Margaret character. Is it Margaret? I forgot her name already. That's how much.
Yeah, it's Margaret.
Okay, thank God. I was gonna look like an
I
idiot.
mean, I did mention her name like several times. I'm
Yeah,
surprised you
but
would
even
forget
I forgot.
already.
I forgot.
One thing I do want to say is that I did actually use a bit of Margaret's design into creating a separate character entirely for a different thing I'm working on.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Safe for YouTube
Um,
though.
huh?
I was just saying, is it for like the next episode?
No, this is for a separate thing
Ah, okay.
entirely. Nothing
Not
relating
not
to Goosebumps or what
not
we're
related to
doing now.
Goosebumps at all. This is a do not. This is my own personal project, not to be associated with this project. So just no. No,
I mean, I would talk about it,
that's
depending
okay.
on
That's okay. Yeah, no worries.
but
Anywho,
I know two people who might end up watching this would know exactly who I'm talking about, and they would probably
you
even say her name too.
you damn know who you guys are. I've seen you two
Yeah, you know
before.
who we are. We're calling you out.
By the way, we should probably see them soon. Hopefully, we can probably get them. Like,
Yeah,
maybe we can get them in here. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens.
yeah. Hopefully.
You have to set it up though, because I have no idea who they are. You do though. You know who they
Yeah,
are. I
I
don't.
know there.
All right. So that's it from there, I guess.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. All
Yeah,
right.
that's it.
So now what? I guess we end it. I guess it needs to
Yeah,
end. You gotta end it. All right. So
yeah.
next episode is my thing, and we're going into the month of Easter. I guess by the time you see this episode will be, if we're lucky, we might get it by the 21st, but we can debate that. Maybe. I guess we'll see how it
We are
plays out.
master debaters.
Yes, we're master procrastinators or whatever you call it.
I said master debaters. I don't know where you got procrastinators, but whatever.
All right, whatever. Anyways, so I guess it's time for a meme clip for the next episode. Though I won't. This is going to be one of those music audio only things, so there's no visuals with this. And when you hear it, you'll know why. So here it is. Yeah, this beat is bop. We're pretending as if we're listening to this, but obviously you would be like, oh yeah, I know that song. Classic by the way.
Oh yeah, I love the sound of silence. Yep. Ah, yeah.
Oh, now
Part
you're
where it
breaking it
goes.
now. Yes, you're done. Now you're doing it.
The part where it goes. That
It's my
shit hits
favorite.
hard.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's like, whoa. Oh yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, and
That
you might
shit
be thinking,
sounds like
why pick this particular song rather than just say something else entirely, like a main theme to a movie or something like that? It's like, nah, I'm weird, first of all, and second of all, it makes more sense later. It's like, maybe I don't know, because that is a whole different theme. This is just something else entirely. But anyways, have fun guessing what that was. You probably do. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably know what it is. If not, then, well, you're not cultured. Uncultured swine. What are you doing? Why are you watching this? Anyways, I guess that's it.
You have no rules.
Yes. So, like a plant will leave. Yeah, so I've been Graham.
And I am Herbert!
Herbert the pervert is zero. No, I gotta run. That's a wrap.
I'm Herbert! I'm Herbert!
That's a wrap.
See ya.